something on that too. So two things, Nick. The pay scale website on the wage gap, and then there's also, so you just do Google pay scale, wage gap, and then also in the infographics folder there is the, there's the wage folder, and in it you mentioned women. You mentioned in women of color. Mm-hmm. So Nick, you're going to pull up it's in the wage gap folder, the Asian women one, but it's not number 2. It's the one in the middle with the straight lines. Do the Asian women first, and we'll do pay scale. Okay, so you mentioned women of color. Actually, Asian women out-earn white men. This is the median weekly earnings of full-time workers, white men versus Asian women. That's 2 minority categories.
In higher paying jobs is what you're saying.
No, across the board. Doing a comparison to comparison. So my understanding of how this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They just take all the earnings of men, all the earnings of white men compared to all the earnings of Asian women. Now these are all full-time workers, mind you. Now the wage gap that you referenced earlier, that encompasses all the money that men bring in and all the money women bring in. So it could be making a comparison of a woman who has a part-time job as barista, and part of that data is also comparing it to men who work on oil rigs who get hazard pay.
And then where are you guys pulling your stuff from?
Nick, you can pull up pay scale. Pay scale is a fairly, it's actually pretty left-leaning. It's a fairly reputable company. Can you scroll down, Nick? There should be like a circle chart. Scroll down. Okay, can you scroll in on that one? You might even be able to right-click and I don't know if it's an image. The gender pay gap in 2024. So the uncontrolled gender pay gap, which is what you're talking about. Women earn 83 cents for every $1 earned by men.
You're including like part-time and all that.
Well, this is where you're not controlling for anything. So it's all the money that women make, all the money that men make.
Okay.
But it's not factoring in for the fact that, for example, all men collectively work more hours than women. They're more likely to work overtime. They're more likely to relocate. They're more likely to work hazard pay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Wait, pull it back up real quick. The controlled gender pay gap. So this measures median salary for men and women with the same job and qualifications.
All men and all women.
All men, well, it's same job, same qualifications.
Okay.
So if you actually control for each of these things and you start removing these variances like hours worked, different job field, different choices, it shrinks down to 99 cents.
It's still below.
Right, but it's still...
You make a penny less than a man? Man, that's rough. But let me ask you this, just out of curiosity. I always wondered this question. Even if it were true that men who owned firms of some type or another did hire women at a lesser wage than they hired men, who the fuck cares? Why is that even a problem? If they're just like, I just don't want these fucking women to make as much as the men that I hire, why is that actually a problem?
I mean, it's a moral problem.
What is the moral problem?
I mean, that dude's like a piece of shit.
Why? Why would it make him a piece of shit?
Because he doesn't value women as much as he values men.
He doesn't value their labor as much.
But if it's the same labor?
Even if it's the same labor, he just doesn't value it as much.
Well, then I think that says something about how he values women.
Yeah, but how would it actually be immoral? Like, why would it be immoral, for instance, if you owned a business, you said, right? Mm-hmm. Why would it actually be immoral for you to be like, I just don't want to fucking hire men at all. I just don't want to even fucking hire them because I don't like their faces. Why would that even be actually immoral or problematic?
I think it's problematic because you're not considering different perspectives that can contribute to the work that you're doing.
But it's yours. Why do you need to consider other perspectives? Like, fuck the other perspective. It's your shit, right? Like, if you found a business, right, and you built it up for 10 years and you're going to start hiring people, and you're like, I don't fucking like women. I just don't like them. I don't like them, so I'm not going to hire any. I was thinking about this, and I was trying to figure out what's actually immoral about that.
I mean, I guess I just think it speaks to like the person's values, essentially, like that they don't.
John Smith donated $200.
Hey, John, thank you, man.
The reason these feminists and angry women are so upset is because they don't have a man to tell them to calm down and relax.
Are you going to do it, John Smith?
Calm down. Relax.
Oh my God.
Relax.
I think I just came. Oh my God.
But anyway.
What the?
What? Yeah, so I was just wondering if you could elucidate me why you would actually think that was immoral. I get that you wouldn't like it.
You're saying I don't like women. I don't want like that's such a like I don't think that's like good moral standards. Just like it kind of relates to all the shit that we've been talking about with her and how she wants to hurt men and shit, right? Like it doesn't feel so far away from that.
Yeah, I mean maybe not, but let us assume that a man goes, a woman's labor, right? It's worth as much as a man's, insofar as the labor she actually does and the labor he's actually doing is about the same. but they just cause so many fucking problems, right? They cause all sorts of issues. They complain a lot. They're always at the HR department because they got too flirty with a guy at work. They're just a pain in the fucking ass to deal with. They're just a pain in the ass. And if I have an all-male workforce, I don't have to deal with any of those fucking problems.
But you have to
That
deal
seems
with
like
a
it's a
whole slew
really
of other
justified and
problems.
reasoned
But
reason.
are you saying that all women are like that and that women are just causing problems in the workplace? Because I don't think that I've ever been like that in the workplace.
Most women aren't like that.
Okay.
But I'm going to assume that there's enough of them that are, that you're still gambling.
could
And
say
that if it's even
it's
20%, I can understand the rationale and could not say it was immoral for a person to be like, yeah, I don't want to fucking deal with all that. I literally
not
just
hire.
don't want to deal with it.
To not hire them.
Yeah, to just not hire
that,
them.
Yeah.
To
Like,
just
if,
be
like,
like,
I have my own business. I mean, I don't plan on hiring anybody. I like just working for myself. But I could see that if someone was like, oh, I just don't want to hire them, I don't think that that's an issue. But if it was like, oh, I'm going to hire them, they're doing the same work, but I'm paying them less because I think that they're doing more complaints. Like, I don't know. I think that, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But I just don't think that like all women are just inherently like gonna cause problems or like these
I
complaints.
totally
Okay, that's why I wanted to
completely
make
100%
sure.
agree.
Yeah.
But let's say it's 10%, which is a lot. That's a lot. So
Can
that's
you just fire the
that's
one
like,
who is?
That's like 1 in 10 women that you hire. Well, but the problem's already caused, right? The issue is already there. And you're like, in this factory, right, I can have a guy put the fucking hot dogs on the little pallet and then it goes up, or I can have a woman do it. They do it about as fast, they do about as much work, but I never have to deal with the,
Do you think there's a little bit of inherent sexism though in that? Like I think there's like a little bit of inherent sexism in your words.
My question is not whether or not it's sexist.
Okay.
My question would be, who cares if it is? Why would that be a problem to be sexist under those circumstances?
I just don't
So in other
understand
words,
how...
sexism itself, I'm not sure is immoral in and of itself if it's indicating a behavior that you're trying to avoid. So for
Why
instance,
are you
wouldn't it be
bagging on her
sexist?
then?
Well, I'll explain. Wouldn't it be sexist, for instance, for you at night to walk across the street if a group of men are moving towards you?
Oh my god. Yes, because I would not change what I was doing if I saw a group of women. If I saw a group of men, I would be a million times more likely that I'm going across
So are
the
you
street.
sexist?
I think it's just...
I mean,
Hang
for
on.
the,
Are you sexist?
Well, for my own protection, in that case, I would say yes.
For your own protection, in that case,
Yeah.
yes, I will be sexist. Aren't we saying the exact same thing?
Although mine could be life or death, yours
Hang
is
on.
not a life or death.
Wait,
Are those
wait.
different?
Or, right, it could be the life and death of your business. And yeah, that's
Okay.
basically to the
is your
financial
livelihood, your family,
ruinations, your
right.
life, family, everything else. I agree that maybe the stakes are slightly higher from the physical aspect, but the principle is the same. I'm sexist towards this group because even though most people in this group aren't going to do this, enough of them will
Right.
that I feel like crossing the street, probably a good idea. And do you think men would blame you for doing that? No. Fuck no. They're like,
Right.
go across the street.
Right.
We know that there's predatory men. Fuck yeah.
Right.
So why would men get blamed for not wanting to hire women? That's my thing. That's why I'm like, is it immoral?
I have a question. You said
Yeah.
men do you're saying that, what do you say, 10 or 5% of women cause problems in the workplace?
Well,
Like,
we're just
there's a race level
we're just
there, too.
assuming it for
Would you
like the
not-
sake of the hypothetical.
Would you not say the same thing about men?
No.
really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. If
What
you have
about
an
the men
all-
that can't keep it in their
if
pants
you-
at work and
Yeah.
jealousy,
But hang on.
competitiveness?
But are you going to have that problem if you have an all-male workforce?
But you're saying
hang
if
on,
I
hang on.
hire
But what if
all
it's an
women?
all-woman workforce?
Yeah, but if it's an all-woman workforce, and you have catty, backstabbing, fucking all
Same
sorts
with
of other
men. Do
issues.
you not have
You don't have
that?
the,
Oh, my dick is bigger
Listen.
than yours. Like, I sell more than
Do
you
you,
are.
then let's test this, okay? Do you think that at all female private schools versus all male private schools, there's more complaints from the students who are men or more complaints from the students who are girls?
I just...
If you had to guess.
Probably the girls.
Wait. Why do you think that?
I think that girls are also just more vocal about it, though, their complaints. than men
So
are.
then they're going to
Men
cause
just
more.
fight each
So
other.
hang
Yeah,
on.
exactly, men
So
fight
wait a
each other.
second. So if I have a workforce of men who have complaints but shut their fucking mouths about them versus a workforce of women who have complaints and don't, which one do I want to hire?
But I think the all-women workforce and all-men workforce have an equal amount of problems. They're just different.
Yeah, no. If you're saying that one of them's complaining constantly and the other one's not complaining constantly, that's
I
already a
don't
huge
think
kind
problem.
women
of a
necessarily
fucked
complain in the
hypothetical,
in the
honestly.
workforce. I think there's some level of professionality that women have when it comes to working that they're just not going to be sitting there complaining 24/7.
Really? Well, let me ask you a
A
question.
competent woman, yes.
Let me ask you a question, and give me
Yeah.
your honest
Yeah.
answer. Okay. Let's assume you had two different offices that you could choose from. One office employed 300 women. The other office employed 299 men, and you. Okay, 299 men plus you. Which office would you prefer to work at?
Which one's better? Or are you saying they're equal?
They're equal. They give you the same pay, right?
I don't think it really matters. I mean, at the
Yeah.
point, it would be
Which-
which one I would be happier with.
Yeah, which one do you
people
think you'd
I
be
like
happier with?
more. depends on who the boss is. How like
The boss is a man in one.
In both cases,
No,
or-
and the other one is a woman.
I don't really think there's a difference.
No, you wouldn't care?
I wouldn't care
There
at
would be
all,
no
no.
preference?
I mean, maybe if like the male one, because I'd feel like, oh, I'm kind of special, but like that's it, because I'm the only woman that was hired. Like I'm, but like.
And you don't think
besides
that would have anything to do with the fact that there would be way less catty bullshit, backstabbing, bitching, whining, complaining, telling you all about how such and such is a mean
Well, I
bitch
think
the second she walks out of the room to
I
you,
think it was-
and you have drama clicks all over the place?
I don't disagree with that. What I'm saying though is men have equal issues.
No.
Just in different
Here's
ways.
what happens on
Well, if you're
construction-
one
here's
woman
what
with a bunch of
happens-
men, like
I would
you're
feel
gonna-
way more
Yeah, I
comfortable
would
with a
feel
bunch
more
of women.
safe.
I would feel more
Here's what
connected to them.
happens.
I would work better. I would be
Here's
more
what happens.
motivated.
Here's what happens on a construction site, right? Or something like this. They're all fucking exhausted from working their asses off, and they don't have time to whine and complain and click and do all that shit. They just don't. And inside of office spaces, sales spaces, things like that, yeah, there's a bit of that for men. But to say it's anywhere on par like it is for women, you talk to women who are in these sales jobs, and they're like, oh my God, these fucking bitches are awful. They're backstabbers, they're connivers, they click up. If you're not part of the clique, they're just horrible, insufferable.
I think that's like putting a very like big stigma on women. I don't think, especially in
It
a
is putting a
workforce,
very big stigma on, but the question is whether or not the stigma is deserved.
I think no. I think especially that's like one thing that I said, like I would say I disagree with the podcast, that the women that are selected to usually be on this podcast are somewhat kind of like that and represent a different kind of like the more problematic side of women, which I agree a large majority of women can be
Have you
problematic.
ever talked to a hairstylist before?
I mean, yes.
No. Have they ever told you what it's like to work in the beauty industry?
I got my hair done 3 days ago. She was talking to me about how all the sororities girls come in and they talk shit all on each other, and she just hears it
All day.
all day,
Every day.
I'm not disagreeing with
Yeah,
that at all.
but that's the thing, is that's why the stigma exists. The stigma exists specifically because of the application. So what I'm saying to you is, if she's willing to cross the street based on her sexism, there's this low percentage of men who are actually predatory. In fact, almost every man you walk by in the middle of the night is not going to do anything to you. Do I blame you for crossing the street, though? Not really. Not really, because I can understand, I can rationalize in my brain why a woman would want to do that. And I'd recommend my wife to do it. She's walking down the street in the middle of the night under some circumstance, cross the street.
Do you have a
That's
wife?
Totally rational. Yes, I have a wife. Totally rational to me, okay? But it's equally rational to me then to say, okay, if I had a firm, right, and there was some inbuilt sexism based around the stigma, would it be rational for me to only want to hire men? I think it's rational to say I only would want to hire men. I don't think it's immoral that a person would move down that thought pattern of I'll only hire X based on social stigmas, which can cause serious problems to their business for their own protection. That's all I'm saying.
I don't even disagree that the stigma is not partially deserved. It is.
Yeah.
I'll be the first to admit it.
Yeah.
Like, all of us have gone through high school. You know what girls are like there.
Yes.
It's not like it's partially deserved, but I think it's.
It's that mean girl shit, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with it, but I also think that there's a good majority of girls that aren't like that.
There's plenty of men with the mean girl mentality too. I mean, I work with, I would say, equally men and women, and usually it's the men that are starting the problems. And all the women that I work with have acknowledged this. Like, we're all really, really cool. We have our problems every now and then. But I would say, like, mostly it's the men that are causing problems, and they are just equally as catty. And maybe you're basing this off a standard of men pre-social media, perhaps. But I think with the way that men are socialized today, a lot of them are mean girls.
I think it's also a big thing is that men probably have less problems with men than women have with women, if you get what I mean.
Totally agree.
Like men.
So
and
hang on,
women-
so that would be a justification for stigma, though.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but also in a workplace where it's men and women, I feel like there'd be less problems than having a full male staff or a full woman staff.
Well, then answer me this. Do you think that there's less problems socially if you send kids to an all-boys school and an all-girls school than if you put them in a co-ed school?
I think co-ed schools have less problems.
They don't.
Well,
I think non-co-ed schools have less
Way.
problems.
That's also because they're private schools, more funding, and more the public schools tend to
You
be.
have private
I think
co-ed
it's
schools you
same
can compare it
sex,
to.
yeah. It would be different kinds
So
of
even if-
problems.
It's different kinds of problems.
Okay, let's go through what you think these different problems would be.
I think women tend to, yes, have more catty drama and play more of a mental game with each other, but men are more likely to have physical altercations
Yeah,
over
but men
something
like that
stupid.
shit.
Exactly, and women like
it too. I think that's.
I like hearing drama.
Girls like to be catty. They like the
You're
drama.
like
wrong with
making
that?
every point for me right now.
Well,
I
yeah,
totally
we're not-
agree. So
we're not
wait,
disagreeing
so
with
men
you
enjoy being violent with each other. Totally agree. Couldn't
There's a
agree
reason
more.
the UFC
Women
is a
like
thing.
being conniving catty bitches with each other. Couldn't
I
agree
don't
more.
think that all
I think catty bitches is a little bit of
yeah.
swearing.
So
I think
what's
that's
the
a little
difference?
extra.
I'm not
Hold
sure.
on, hold
Not
on. I want
sure.
to make a point. What's the difference between me being violent towards a man, but men being violent towards each other and making it okay?
They're
do you
both
mean?
bad.
They're okay, fair enough. But why is that? Like, you're saying, like, men just like this shit, like,
it's like-
and you're justifying it.
Because they're violent by consent.
Yeah, there's a reason I think that the UFC.
And as long as they're
exists.
violent by
fighting each other
consent, it's all
yeah.
good with you, right?
True.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want as long as it's by consent. So anyway, the point is, though, is that if I'm looking at the standard of understanding why, you would want to cross the street. You'd have that innate sexism, which is put in you, that this person potentially could harm me greatly. And all I'm saying is that I understand why it is that men would have the same exact feeling the opposite. This woman could destroy me. I understand why men would adopt the I don't go around women without another man or another woman present who I trust, or I don't go to private lunches with women unless there's a woman with me, or I don't go around women without my wife. I totally understand that. It makes a lot of sense to me.
It does make more sense to me now. I mean, I guess it was not something I had ever thought of.
Yeah.
But having this conversation, it definitely is like there's things connecting in my brain that I'm like, ooh, that is really interesting, and like not a perspective I've thought of before. I think it makes me.
Once you absent the propaganda and you just have the conversation.
Yeah,
right? It's interesting how you say.
It is interesting. I think as a woman who has broken out of that like catty, like because I would say like as in high school I would like say that I was one of those mean girls. I was trying to get to the top of this food chain, whatever. And since growing out of that, leading
It's
people...
super highly competitive too, right?
Oh, so competitive, guys. I don't think I won. But like I went through a lot of growth, especially in my early 20s. I like moved away, you know, and it's like I went on a very like spiritual path of growth out in nature, and like so hearing that like it is disheartening only the fact that like I don't believe that in a workplace I would cause problems, that like let's say that would be like my dream job, but like someone is only going to be hiring men, I'd be like, no way, but like I promise I'm not going to like I wish that I would still be able to get that chance to prove myself.
Sure.
You know?
100%. No,
that's the only thing, but I do understand what you're saying.
I understand, but that would be the same way that the men walking down the street who are just walking over to talk to you.
He's like, I just want to prove to you.
I just want to prove to you that I'm not a horrible
and I, like,
predator.
have my
You've got your mace ready, everything else, right? But I was just trying to prove, and you would rather go, I could let you prove it and take the risk,
right?
Or I can cross the fucking street.
That is really interesting. I'm like, that's really interesting.
It was fantastic.
Yeah,
argumentation by Andrew. Yeah, two things really quick, then we'll get into the next topic. Nick, could you pull up the view counter? We haven't done that in a while. Guys, there are, how many we got? We got, guys, it's been 50. Look at the prime sub is Gion. What's that? You need to get this program. There's 80 plus videos, about 6 hours of content. If you want to learn how to become a master debater. You need to get this program. Three different instructors, mostly headed by...
It's a funny play on words.
Yeah, true. You should definitely...
How to pillars. But she did.
I think but spawn, good word. You get really forest transition point here based off of the previous conversation. Here's a scenario. Would you rather be... So here's the scenario, right? Would you rather be alone in a forest with a random man or a random bear? But, so you get randomly dropped. So, randomly spawns. Spawn, good word. You get randomly spawned in a forest. And it's either a totally random bear or a totally random man. So the man, why is he in the forest? Not really part of the equation. Why is he alone? Not part of the equation. Just a random man plucked from the United States.
Only the U.S.
Only the U.S. Yes.
Oh my God.
Only the U.S.
What was the other thing in the forest? Did you say a
or
bear?
a bear. So you pick between a
I feel
random
like a bear
man
would be cute.
or a random bear.
Is
So,
it like-
okay.
go ahead. What's your
Is it,
question?
like, how big
Into
is
the
this?
mic.
Oh,
Into
how
the mic.
big is this bear?
Yeah, random.
It
Random. It could be anything.
So it could be like a cub.
Here,
It could be-
adult.
Cubs are still
No. Hold on. It's going to be an adult man or adult bear.
Okay.
But it could be a black bear. It could be a grizzly bear, brown bear.
Polar bear.
Sure. It can even be a polar bear. So starting with you, which do you pick?
Man.
Okay.
I'll probably go with a man, yeah.
As someone who goes out on solo trips out in nature, I feel that I could see both scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
You guys all know Pocahontas, okay? And Brother Bear. No, I really would want to try and connect with a bear, though, on a soul level. I really would do that. You guys are giving me the looks like I'm like the craziest person alive.
Yes, you are.
I do think
Actually, I've heard of this before. Let me see if I get it correct.
Okay.
You can picture things in your head
Yeah.
and then tell that to the animal.
Like, okay, no.
Like a dolphin, for instance, perhaps.
Like telepathy, you mean? More like just, obviously you can't communicate with words, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like being in the same energy, like it's like we all talk to our dogs, you know what I'm saying? Like my dog can understand things, not every word that I'm saying, but like me and my dog have a connection. I'm saying I would like for humans to like rebuild our connection with these other animals, that like that would be my reasoning for being like, that could be interesting. But like in terms of survival, I would pick a male,
but
human.
But hang on, because you brought up something else interesting I
Yes.
got to ask about.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can have such a connection with an animal that the animal can actually, in a way, speak to you?
Like bond.
Yeah.
I believe so. I believe I have a bond with my dog. It's never been with words or her barking, you know what I'm saying? But like I believe that there is a love between us.
do you think that through this type of medium of communication that you can create consent between animals and humans?
Like consent as in like, please don't kill me, bear, like that?
Sure.
No, only because let's say a cub comes along or like something, like as soon as their instincts kick in, that animal could then obviously turn and be like, I'm protecting my cub and kill me. You know what I'm saying? Even if you've built up this, I just like being around animals. I want to witness them more and be out in nature more.
So
that
you-
would be more
So you
so.
can't actually talk to them through telepathy? Or can you?
No. I think you can connect those soul to soul. I think I could look in an animal's eyes and like feel their essence. I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even willing to grant that. But
Yeah.
I'm just not
That-
sure
that's
what that
the-
means
Yeah.
exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like even with trees though, like trees are alive. You know what I'm saying? You could be touched by a tree or a field, and like you can get an essence or like the only word I can think of is like a vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like just like wow, or like be touched by
Well, I
something.
understand
like
you can
be
partake in the
touched.
essence of something.
Yeah.
I get what that
Right.
means. That's a deeply religiously rooted concept.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yes.
It's what that means exactly. Like, what can you do with that?
Right. Well, I think.
Like, can you make the tree grow different ways?
No.
No.
Oh,
No.
no. What?
No. And you
No, I
can't-
think it
so
can
you can't
transform your
really-
own self-awareness though, or your awareness of like your consciousness next to other consciousness, you know what I'm saying? Or like just like I've had deeply profound experiences in nature, just in the desert. I'm by myself, I'm sitting on a rock and I'm like becoming
But,
acutely
okay,
aware of
but
my
were
awareness.
you doing drugs? The truth.
No.
Not
No.
No psychedelics ever?
No.
You've
And
never
you know
done
what's
any
funny?
psychedelics?
Oh, I have.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I have.
I knew you did.
I did.
Did you see the DMT-Ls?
No, I've never done DMT. I did shrooms
Is it
once
on-
when
is
I
it
was
on the list?
18, and that was
okay.
it was like a crazy, yeah, that was a whole thing. And then like I microdosed on shrooms a few times, but like these experiences were all my solo trips out in nature
Wait,
from
sorry, I'm
summer
sorry.
to
I do have to
Yeah, I
interrupt.
interrupted. I'm
I do
sorry.
have to interrupt.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the
Yeah, I know.
question.
That's
here.
my fault.
It's
I
okay.
did.
It's okay.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the wait.
Bear or man?
Oh, that question. Yeah. So long ago. For survival, I'm going to go with a male human.
Yeah.
I would say man. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I love to talk to random people, and it would never be boring when I was with a stranger.
I'm gonna go man too.
Same, man.
Oh, all man.
Nobody said bear.
Because like even a man, you can
disappointing.
defend yourself against a man to some extent. You're not defending yourself against a
it's
bear. at the
unfortunate.
end
I
of
was
the
actually
day.
thinking about this very thing you just said, because we have so many people answer man. But the question is random man, random bear, right? But if you had a random man, actually the chances that you would get a man who was really physically fit and in the prime of their life would not be very high.
Very slim. Yeah.
Yeah, it would not actually be very high. And the chances that you would get a bear that can kill you is way higher. Way higher.
I was also thinking from the means like I'm taller than most men.
Like, isn't the
like I feel like
Yeah,
I
just-
have,
I
I
mean-
have
Be the
advantage here. Yeah.
The chances that you would get randomly selected, since you have an aging population, which far outnumbers now the non-aging population, the chance that you would get a man prime of his life, physically fit, and wanted to do you harm for no particularly good reason is super low.
Right.
Like, that would be super low. Whereas with the bear, the chances that if you were in a confined space with bear, confined even a forest,
Your dinner.
yeah, you could be dinner. You know?
And maybe you could vibe with the bear.
I do,
though, like
Andrew.
you
I do
said.
want to show you a video that we can perhaps pull up another time, and you can tell me if you think this would be a good argument to make for future shows. So, Nick, just play the video really quick, and I'll give the context for why I would show this specific video. So just this segment here, when there's people like slowly moving in the car, and there's just like a bear kind of chilling, and then that's pretty much the extent of the segment. And like I think the way I would frame the argument, I know nobody here picked bear, would be, well, if it was just a random man in place of that bear, would you be more likely to exit the vehicle if it's that bear who's just strolling along in that car ride, or just if it's a random man?
You're absolutely way more likely to get out of the car if it was a man
Sure,
than that
for
bear.
sure.
Right, and
Absolutely.
like I'm thinking in that like
Right.
that specific
Yeah, it
scenario
is a good
where
argument.
you're
Well,
in a car.
you should just put up
Right.
what you should do if you want it to really hit home. Get another video of just a random guy walking across the street in the same scenario. Be like, which one would you get out of the car for?
But I would think most
wouldn't think
people,
of
if
it,
they're
yeah.
in a car, they would feel far less safe exiting the vehicle in that scenario. If it's just like stack of cars, whatever, and a bear just walks by. I don't know. I thought that might be a good video for future episodes.
Yeah.
But let me read a couple chats here. We have, let me start with the Streamlabs ones. We have, I think we should have the Austrian girl read. Your name's Enya, right?
Yes.
Are you named after the band? Enya? Or is that,
The
no,
woman-
she's a
yeah.
musical artist.
I think it's one.
Actually, yes.
You're named after her?
Yeah.
What's her, Sail Away? Is that one of the songs? What's the other one?
That's such an
Caribbean-
awful song. It's
Huh?
a terrible song.
Don't dog on
I
Enya,
don't like it.
Andrew.
You don't like her?
There's Caribbean Blue. What's her other banger? Hold on, Enya.
That's been in like every
song.
grocery store in the 90s forever.
Only time. Oh, there's
Yeah.
Only Time, Orinoco Flow. Wait, yeah, Only Time, Orinoco Flow, Caribbean Blue. Anyways, okay. So we're gonna have you read. You get to read, right? You're here to learn English. We're gonna practice your English reading. So you read that. Go ahead.
The delusion.
You got it.
you had that.
You got it. You got it.
Oh yeah, I can barely read it too.
The delusional.
You got to do it into the mic. Speak into the mic.
Sorry. The delusional redhead is only a dumb because men allow you to be a dumb. You're. I don't know how to.
I don't know why I keep. You got it.
Pseudo.
This is obviously it's advanced English. Granted.
Overestimates their position and value. Everything you know was built by men.
Well done.
That was really good.
That was good.
Yeah.
EF classes are paying off. All right, we
I
have.
feel like for 2 days. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Gillies, and then we have SS. Please, no World War II references, please. Okay, go ahead.
My life is settled, married, self-employed, so I'm not in the pool of marketing myself for gold. Diggers guessing you are single, not late to get in shape, morally and physically.
Wait.
Damn.
And then the last part, you missed it.
Yeah, because
Oh, there's the last part, like this part.
This Sparta. What?
This is Sparta!
No, it's okay. You're doing good. I'm wondering if there's a way we can. Wait, Nick. So you can actually just quickly resize it, I think, and then you would just Control Z it. So just like Shift and then go into the corner.
Yeah.
No, Shift. Hold Shift, and then put the mouse over the corner. Red dot.
This one?
Yep.
And then just hold. Make it bigger. That might help. Maybe. I'm not sure though. We'll see. You might have to. Okay. God damn, that was a. Are you sure you're holding Shift, sir?
I have to learn that shit.
Maybe Control Shift. Try Control Shift. Scuffed. Does.
You want to resize that?
Are you talking to George?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it Shift to like make it so it doesn't change the?
Not doing that shit.
Just try it. Just try it. Oh.
Yeah.
So Shift, bro. That's weird.
Yeah.
Normally Shift will. Okay. All right. We're gonna have you read this one.
You have your OBS guy, I have my OBS guy.
I will say I will things I don't agree with because it may make me money, regardless of the damage it does on others.
Oh, fuck. You changed it in the wrong one. Okay, can you put it, just Control Z? Control Z. Okay, now do it. Okay, go ahead. One more time. Sorry, guys, we're trying to get her some like English in. We've teamed up with EF to.
Is a sponsor.
We've teamed up with EF to help people learn English. Okay. All right, let's try now.
Because I have no values and money is my only god because I have no virtue.
Thank you, Giovanni C. Appreciate it. Read by the wonderful Enya. Okay, we have Robert Tanner here coming in just a sec. Thank you, Giovanni. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
Andrew, can you please back to about objective truth? This is a huge component and heart of much of these arguments. Subjective reality, we all perish. Look at the how do we say that?
Nazis.
Wait, you don't know this one?
Yeah, I don't know how to speak correctly.
Who felt their truth was correct. You can switch it back now.
That's awful.
That was crazy.
Andrew?
Well, you can, but I'm not trying to make these streams philosophy heavy. So we're just trying to get into the ideas around dating and this type of thing. Sometimes a bit of philosophy comes up, but I don't think you want to get into objective versus subjective morality in a dating podcast. Probably not the best idea. Save them for debates.
In any case, Robert Tanner, thank you for the message, and thank you for your. I think you sent in previously some gifted memberships on YouTube, so thank you, man. We have Jess White here. Are you able to see this one? Okay.
Yes. Someone get Red a pineapple to sit on. She needs a break from her head being stuffed so far up there. A3 at most with an ugly attitude. She will be alone with her cats like the rest.
Only time will tell.
Do you have cats?
I do. I have 2.
Hey, I have 2 cats.
Wait, Nick, why did you play that, bro?
But also a wife and kids.
Okay. All right.
Not
Jess
just
White,
cats.
Not just
shout
the
out
cats.
to Australia. She is from Australia, Andrew. Just saying.
Sure.
Okay. Just thought I'd let you know.
Who is?
Jess. One. Okay.
Do you have any Australian currency? Any Australian currency on you?
I don't know what we're talking about. Okay, let's get into. I'm gonna try to get through all the
Never
show.
had
show.
Australian currency.
We have. What's that, Nick? Oh, dating app. We have got people's dating apps. We'll get to those, guys. So we have some dating apps from the girls that we'll review. We'll get into that a little bit later. So let's see here. Why don't we go to Courtney? Courtney, you're a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
You wanted to talk about, or I don't know if you wanted to talk about dating as a bi woman. In any case, you said it's rough out here. You got to really advocate for yourself and stay safe. Guys lie about shit, and they for sure don't get tested regularly.
I don't think it's just guys. I just think, like, if you're going to sleep with someone, you can't trust on faith that they're being honest about whether they're clean or not.
Sure.
That's
valid. That's
yeah.
fair. You said that you, oh wait, my notes did not update. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to pull it up via Instagram. Did anybody send me pre-show notes like this morning?
Oh no.
Courtney, I know you sent me something. Nobody
I don't
else.
know if it was today. I think it was yesterday.
I did yesterday.
Where do you do stand-up?
Anywhere I can. Locally, there's a lot of spots in Santa Barbara. I've traveled as far as like Templeton and Tuscadero, done some festivals, Long Beach, LA.
You think female comedians are as funny as male comedians?
I think it depends on the comedian.
Just on average.
I don't think there are as many female comedians, so I don't think.
That's why we would use the average.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of like women comedians, it's more laughing at. Like they kind of subject themselves to being laughing at, and then like male comedians, it's actual.
So here's my ultimate question to prove if this is true or not, just from my perspective. In any part of your bit, or your act, right? Do you bring up your vagina?
There's some bits, sure.
Every single time. Every time I tune in to a female comic, they're always talking about I have no idea why.
It's not my go-to. Like, I mean, I have like files and files of jokes in my head. Sure, some of them are going to include my vagina. Like, just as I've seen dudes talk about their dick, I don't really feel like it's...
Yeah, some male comics do. I've noticed, though, that most of them don't. Most of them talk about everything
You're
but their
not
dick.
in the world, though. Like, you see what you see on TV. I see, like, everything that nobody sees on TV. And, like, there's a lot of dudes that talk about their dicks. But
Kevin Hart always jokes he's Shaq's dick, like his size.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty even.
Kevin Hart's not a very funny comedian.
Didn't say he was, I was just saying.
Well, anyways, to get into your notes here, so you, sorry, I just lost it.
these stories are probably wild.
I don't know why my Dropbox got scuffed. Sorry, guys. Okay. You said that you not to look past red flags under the guise of being progressive.
Oh.
What does that mean?
That's taken out of a full-ass story. But so I dated a guy very briefly who exhibited a lot of red flags very early on. But I was like, that's fine. I'm progressive. So, like, for example, he told me he had 4 kids. It's like, he's in his 30s. I understand that anyone I date in my 30s is probably going to have some kids. So I was like, I like kids. I could be a stepmom. We can move past it. Then he tells me he has 4 baby mamas. Yeah, it's a lot of justification that happened. So
Was he black?
He was.
Oh.
Yeah.
What kind of stereotype is that?
I mean, yeah. So that's all I'm saying is, like, and I have like I was working on a bit about this of like it's 2024, like, you know, you can have 4 kids, they can be with 4 different baby mamas, like, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So, yeah.
Okay, and you said, let's see here, hold on. Tinder isn't what it used to be during the COVID days, and you have a great joke you do about dating how guys are tired.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the thing with COVID? What's the thing with
COVID? I was very
Tinder?
successful on dating apps, perhaps maybe more successful than I've ever been, although I haven't really been on dating apps historically, like for long periods of time. Or I think people were looking, I guess success is what we, define it as, but in terms of like getting hookups and meeting people I wanted to meet, and yeah, I had a lot going on. That's all. I probably would not do as well today, which is fair.
And what about guys are tired?
Yeah, this is just a joke.
Well, don't tell us it's a joke.
I mean, it is. I don't
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Basically, like, if a guy comes first, like, that's okay, like, he just needs to, like, replace it with something, you know what I mean? Like, a vibrator, a dildo, like, his big toe, like, I don't care, just, like, wash your big toe, because I'm really sick of getting athlete's pussy. There's not, like, a Tinactin for that,
joke about your vagina.
There you go. I pulled it
just
out
pointing it
just
out.
for you. I pulled it out just for you.
Okay. Good times. Good
It's
times.
fun to bomb here because like it doesn't bomb in a crowd full of people. But I also don't start it by saying this is
Well,
a
it's
joke.
a different setting, you know. So, let's see. Something about the meth guy.
Same
and
guy.
The 7-Eleven. That's the 4 kids, 4 baby
Same guy,
mamas.
yeah.
Okay. What about the murder date? Can you give us the really short version of the murder date?
Yeah. So I went on a date with a guy. We went to get sushi. The sushi place was closed, so we took it to go to a second location. He said he like did real estate, which I found out later was not actually true. So I don't know how he knew this property or could get into it. Either way, we drive up like a windy ass road for like a long time, which at that point I was starting to get uncomfortable. And he's also just driving kind of like maniacally. We get to this house. It's like an unfinished house on a hill. I think the intention was like to have a like kind of romantic sunset date, but I just kept getting like terrible feelings. Like we get there. There's like, this probably doesn't mean anything. There was like a jug of water in the back of his car, and like, I don't know if there's like a shovel on the property or what, but there was like some stuff. And so we walk into the house, and it's like unfinished. It's like kind of like a spooky room. And I look back and the door's like about to close, and I had like a panic attack. I was like, this door closes, like this is the last time I'm ever gonna see a door, basically. And I freaked out and like told him I didn't, to take me back. I didn't wanna continue this date. I was really freaked out, and he was like, I'm a good person. He just kept talking about how he was a good person, which I don't think ever helps in those situations. He's like, you can ask anyone, I'm a good person. I've worked with homeless people before. And I was like, can you just give me some space? Like, it looked like the scene out of a horror movie, and I like saw myself above, like, are you gonna get murdered? Like, so, I mean, that's all it was. And it's crazy because I found out later I'd met another girl that he like had done this with another girl and like taken her to the spot, and it was just weird. It was just very.
Was it his house?
No, it wasn't. I don't know whose property or if I think.
Did the other one stick it out?
I don't remember. I just remember like that beginning conversation about this guy does this or something. It was just
He takes women to a nice picnic spot.
It certainly wasn't.
You haven't finished the whole
No,
story.
I know, and I know, and I'm not proud of it because we did hook up later. So that's on me. Very regrettable. But in the moment, I was like, and maybe that's what made it hot later. I don't know. It's kind of like a weird fucked up thing, but maybe. What? Yeah, not my proudest hookup, but I felt way safer when I was.
Was this the same day that you went down the windy road to the house, spooky house?
Yeah.
Same day?
This was all within the same. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you said, of course, my dumbass ended up hooking up with him anyways.
Yep.
Mid hookup, he says what?
Oh yeah, he called me daddy. I know. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know what about me says daddy. Like,
I could see it. Just kidding.
yeah, I like told him right away. I was like, please don't. I know. I was like, please don't. Like, please don't. And then he calls me mommy. Like shortly after that, and I was like, do you just have like, are you little
That's
like
fucking disgusting.
yeah, like are you
Daddy.
Orphan Annie? And I'm like Daddy Warbucks. Like, get the fuck out of here. It was wild. So
He called you daddy?
he called me daddy, and then when I told him I didn't like it, he called me mommy.
Wait, so you said I don't like it, then
Yeah.
his idea,
Let me try the other one.
idea is to try mommy.
Yep.
He's definitely a gooner.
Wait, ladies,
I don't know what
which
a
would you
gooner is.
prefer? Which would you prefer, being called daddy or mommy?
Is that a question, mommy?
No, I don't know. I basically was like, go back to
If you had
daddy.
to choose.
Jivanic donated $200.
Jivanic, okay.
Why talk about getting porked by some potential serial killer when you have a boyfriend? Do you have zero respect for your man? Imagine clowning your man like that on a platform
Well, they
with
weren't
millions
together.
watching.
They weren't together
That's
at the time.
that's kind of a dumb point. I'm on a dating show. Am I only going to talk about my current relationship? It'd be pretty
Yeah.
boring.
I mean, she already talked about her vagina.
Right. That's all I talk about.
It's all fair game. Giovanni.
Giovanni.
Okay, all right. So then he called you daddy. And then you said what to him?
I said, I don't like that. I think I said something like, please don't call me that.
Oh, right. You already said the orphan anything.
Yeah.
And then he texted you again, and then
Something like that. Yeah, and
nothing.
I said no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting one.
And did you continue to date him after?
No, that was the one experience I ever had.
And that was just it?
Yeah. He said, he texted me and asked if I want to hang out. I said no.
Interesting.
I was very ashamed that I hooked up with him.
Ashamed.
But, we all make mistakes.
By the way, Nick, remind me about the dating apps. Make sure I don't forget about those. Going to Rihanna? Is that how you say your name?
It's Rihanna.
Rihanna, okay.
Yeah.
You have a bachelor's in psychology.
Yes.
You said hot takes on dating, love and respect yourself enough to leave it first. Red flag, maybe you two have something in common there. Okay.
Definitely at daddy.
Yeah, I'd put the red flag.
That's
for that
a
one.
big
Wait,
red
woo,
flag
okay.
for sure.
Tell us about the bowling date.
Oh God, this is so funny. So I moved to Vegas last summer. I like leased an apartment. It was the first time I moved out on my own. I was like freshly single, had some new like self-respect and self-worth. So I'm just like, dating, going on dates. I had been seeing this guy for, I want to say maybe like almost 2 months. We like made it known that we were like exclusively seeing each other. I don't know if we were like boyfriend and girlfriend yet, but we were like, we were like exclusively seeing each other to see where this goes. And then we were bowling. And he's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. And I'm like, do my bowl and I'm waiting for him. He like comes back with this like super bright red face. And he's like, oh gosh, like he's just acting weird. I'm like, oh, like what's going on? I've never seen him like this. And he's like, I drank 2 beers like right before you walked in here. And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, that's weird. That doesn't seem like you. Like, I was like, okay. And then he's like, and then that's why I accidentally texted you when I meant to text my brother. And I'm like, what? And then he's like, yeah, like I sent a text. It was supposed to go to my brother, but it went to you. So then he goes to take his bowl, and I'm like, okay, like just now in the bathroom. So I go to my phone, and then the text that he sent to me, which was supposed to go to his brother, quote, said, I can be there at 10 p.m., love.
Wait, and how long were you dating him for?
We were dating for like almost 2 months, and we had probably like, I want to say like 3 weeks before that, like been like, oh, this is going really well. Like we're going to exclusively just see each other now.
Okay. And then he said, yeah. Okay. And so did you keep seeing him, or was that the end?
Oh, no, this is actually where it gets funnier on my end, like just like, making mistake stuff. So I like really just have too much trust in people almost. Like I just believe them when I shouldn't. So at first I was like, oh, we better hurry up this date so you can go get to your 10 p.m. love. And then he was like, no, like I really meant to send that to my brother. And I was like, this is so silly now too. I'm like, that's just so crazy. But I was like, look me in my eyes and tell me that you like really meant that for your brother. And he's like, I really meant that for my brother. And I was like, okay, like I believe you. And so then I saw him. I never slept with him or anything. We just like had only ever made out. That was it. But
wait, you guys were dating for 2 months?
Yeah.
And you didn't smash?
No, didn't smash. But
wait,
so
you
then,
had a question?
Yeah, you didn't know that he has a brother?
No, he so
Amazing.
he had 2 younger brothers, but the message was not meant for the right.
No.
Yeah.
It was for another girl, yeah?
Yeah, for another.
Wait, y'all were dating for... Oh, shit.
Robert Tanner donated
can you get the champagne
$1,000. Pop champagne. FYI. Stock market is collapsing and I am making a fortune.
Yep.
Do not drink champagne. A lot of people soon are going to be unemployed. As I am right now, help those that are all about to suffer.
Can I get a paper towel or whatever?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Hang on, Robert. If I may make this argument to you for why this is a good thing that the stock market is collapsing, because we'll probably get Donald Trump in office if it does. We'll probably end up with Donald Trump getting elected if the stock market crashes. So it's not all bad news, bro. Not all bad news.
Hey, Robert Tanner, you're a fucking legend.
You want Trump?
He's a brave and a decent man. He's a pioneer.
Hell yeah. Trump's great.
Wait, you want Trump?
No.
Oh, okay. Hold on. This is for
Are you
Robert.
a Harris?
I'm a fucking legend.
You're a fucking legend, Tanner.
Yes! About time I get a fucking lucky break in this fucking game.
Not fucking time,
motherfuckers,
bro.
and I clutch the goddamn grenade launcher. That's fucking right.
All right. Sorry, it's going to take me a million years to get this open. You were, telling us how it got funnier? Did you...
Oh, the funnier part was the fact that I believed him that it was
that's the
truly sent to his brother. So then I still saw him for like a week, but then he did something like he said we had a plan, and then he
you guys-
bailed on me.
Wait, hold on. Y'all were exclusive, but not having sex?
Yeah,
Are
did.
you religious?
No.
You wait 2 months to...
I think I wait longer.
I've waited 4.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I wait a long. It depends how comfortable I am
feel
with
like that's
someone.
why-
You're bonding your soul.
That's
It takes a
like
while.
why he sent the message.
And like
It's
if
a
you
soul
do
bond,
that,
Brian.
if you do that too early, like you get in your head too. You're like, oh wow,
Have you
this
ever
is
heard of
great.
soul bonding with dragons?
Maddie, can you pour the
no.
liquor for
No.
us?
I've not.
Take that shit.
It's a thing.
Take that.
Soul bonding with dragons
With
from
dragons.
like a show.
Yes, soul bonding with dragons.
Okay.
It's supposed to
only
be the
21.
best kind of soul bond.
You mean like Avatar?
So,
No.
Andrew.
When they soul
Okay,
bond?
you want champagne?
Just
Just a little champagne. No champagne. Okay.
That's good.
Okay. Nothing can.
Champagne.
I'll take champagne. Yeah, I'm not gonna deny that.
It's just these three who can't drink here. These three can't drink.
That's us in the middle. Can't.
Huh? What? Yo, Robert Tanner. We have to do cheers once everybody has their alcohol. Wait, so hold on. 2 months? But in what way are you exclusive?
Well, we were exclusively dating each other. We just hadn't worked up to moving on to those sexual things yet that get you like.
And you're not religious?
I'm not religious, no.
And are you like a
Respect.
virgin or?
No, not a virgin.
So you're not religious,
Not religious, not a virgin.
but you're not a virgin.
Who am I?
But you're waiting
You know the
months.
who am I game?
Just a high
Wait,
value
I'm just
woman.
curious. Wait, have you? What's the longest you've ever waited to have sex?
With someone I was seeing.
Such a coomer, Brian. Dude.
How is that? How's that
What's wrong?
coomer?
They're waiting for
I
a
waited 4
significant
months.
amount.
Yeah,
of
I
time.
was gonna
That's a
say
good
like
thing.
Well, I'll get to that.
4 months, 5 months.
Okay, now have you ever hooked up with people quicker than that?
When I was in my early 20s, there was like a few people that it was just like, not. I mean, they were
that
people I
night?
knew, but it was just like, oh, I like you.
You never like hooked up with somebody the first day you met them?
No,
Did you go to college?
I did go to college.
Where did you go? To school?
The first 2 years, I was a very small Christian school, actually. I played soccer, and then still soccer at the second school, but UNC Asheville was a bigger school. But they were small schools in North Carolina. He's not buying my story. He's like, I don't buy this.
I believe it.
I was a virgin for a very long time. I was a virgin until I was like 21. I was like a junior in college, and then all my friends were like,
Okay.
girl, you need to have sex because you're crazy being a virgin. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, yeah.
Your friends led you
Cheers,
astray.
cheers to Tanner.
We weren't nice friends.
Cheers to Robert, the great Robert Tanner. Cheers. Salud. Cheers. Thank you, Robert Tanner. Your patronage is very much appreciated. Thank you, man. And, okay, anyways, I was
Bad
kinda
friends.
getting off track there.
I know, bad friends. Me and my mom were just talking about that the other day. Oh, well, live and learn.
Yeah.
Grow.
But so you said you did have
They're
like,
always trying to pull the ladder up, you know? Always, every time.
you did say you had some indiscretions though when you were younger.
Yeah, like when I first had lost my virginity when I was 21, then
Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
When you lost your virginity, you lost it.
to a boyfriend.
Oh, I thought you were about to say like you lost your virginity. It was like a guy you met like 2 days prior.
Oh no, we were dating. We had been dating for like 3 or 4 months before I had slept with him.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Back to your notes in any case. So there's the guy, the texting guy, whatever, he's gone. You were on a date where a guy got pissed after you outsmarted him.
This is funny.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so this was shortly after I was done dating the bowling guy, and I had met this guy playing pickup soccer in Nevada. I thought he was cute. He had a camping tattoo on his arm, so I was like, oh, we can bond over camping. So I had invited him over to my apartment one night, and I was like, oh, we can go to the store, buy like a board game and like play a board game, you know, get to know each other, have fun. So we went to the store, we decided on Battleship. And there is some strategy in Battleship, you know, you can like either like, well, what I did was I put all of my ships all together in one clump, and then that way if you like have one of the 4 ship but it's connected to the 3, in certain ways you might think that you hit a different ship than you actually hit, so then they're looking or thinking that they need to look for something else, right? So he wasn't like catching on to what I was doing, and then he was like, oh, I don't understand, like you don't have the 2 ship left or like whatever. And then I was like, well, I do. And then he was like, show me your board, and I was like, okay. So then I show him the board, and then he's like, so we need to restart, but I won that one because I had some more ship. I was just like, okay, like he just was having like this big ego about the game. Like I was just like, okay, whatever. So we play again, and then like, you know when you get vulnerable with someone, you like talk about your insecurities. So I was like telling him how like, oh, when I was younger, like I still have bad BO, but I had really bad BO when I was like a little kid. So I was like telling him this like funny story that I thought was just funny. And then he was like, yeah, speaking of, like, you smelled so disgusting the other day at soccer that when I went to hug you, I literally almost puked, and I turned and I was like, ugh, and I like really almost was gonna upchuck. And I was like, okay. So then he left, well, no, then he kisses me. I know, right? That's so mean. So then he kisses me and leaves.
That's
and
fucking disgusting.
Yeah. So then I walk in the bathroom and I like look in the mirror and I start crying because that made me like hurt my feelings. And then I call my mom and I'm like, Mom, what do you think of this? That's so silly. So then I texted him because he had just asked me to be his girlfriend. I told him I was thinking about it. And then I said, I do not want to be your girlfriend. And then I never talked to him ever again. Kind of funny, but also sad.
I like
Battleship
that.
and BO.
Yeah, like didn't deter him though. Like he was still about it. You know?
Yeah, I know.
I
Interesting.
don't think playing board games is a good idea.
Really?
Like Monopoly? Bro, if you want to like have enemies for life, bro, you can't play Monopoly with somebody.
That is so true.
Yeah.
I don't know, you don't get competitive over that shit.
No.
Bro, you know how frustrating, you know how easy it is to get tilted playing Monopoly?
Not
you
that
spent,
easy.
You spent
fucking game, dude. Who cares?
You spend 2 fucking hours developing your board, and just from pure RNG luck, the other person just got better fucking rolls. 2 hours playing this goddamn slow ass game, and then they're just like smoking you because your RNG sucks.
No.
Okay, good talk.
I don't see it.
Good talk.
I don't see it.
Let's see, what else here? We going back to Natalie?
Yes.
Now, if they're beating you at video games, that's different. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Especially if it's a fighting game, they're just button mashing. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. They're just button mashing. You're like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You shouldn't have won that. That's bullshit.
That's a strategy. I mean,
Yeah, just hit random shit.
Going to Natalie, you said I also would love to debate about subjects like the importance issues of Christianity. I'm not going to talk about that other one, being a traditional woman and shmushmorshin.
Oh.
So are you Christian?
Yes.
Okay.
What denomination?
Being,
Presbyterian.
okay. Being a traditional woman and shmushmorshin. So you're against shmushmorshin. Abortion. You're against it, or?
I'm sort of a middle ground here. Should I explain?
Yeah.
I think from like a religious standpoint, I have issues with it, but I also know that we live in a world where not everybody is religious, and we don't live in a perfect world, and there's a lot. I think since everyone's not under the religious belief, that they should be entitled to their own opinion, but I do think there should be way, 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 way more restrictions on shmushmorshmen.
But I don't understand, though. Let's back up.
Yeah.
Let's untangle some ideas
Yes.
again, right?
Yeah.
So idea one, from your Christian purview,
Yeah.
abortion is murder?
It is.
That's kind of where I struggle.
From your Christian worldview?
Sure, yes.
Is it?
From a Christian standpoint
From
and what the
your
Bible
Christian
says?
standpoint.
Yes.
Yeah, from your Christian standpoint. It is
Yes.
murder?
Yes.
Okay. Then why the fuck would you make murder legal?
Because I know that everyone doesn't have the same views that I do.
Why
and
would that matter? So now we're back to the
I just
idea of the
think-
serial killer again,
think
remember?
it's-
Remember earlier when we were saying that's subjective, so you can be a serial killer if you want to. Well, you can based on that view. You're actually enabling that view.
I think that it's just not realistic to say that. I don't think.
Is it your duty to be
No,
realistic?
huh?
Is it your duty to be realistic? Is it your duty to
have
say
to.
we're going to run the world based on just sheer pragmatism? That's not Christianity. That's something else, right?
No, I agree, but I think that I don't believe that day of conception, but that is life. You know,
Well, when is it?
Yeah, when is
this
it?
is where I struggle. This is why I am kind of. I think that there should be more restrictions in the fact that there's girls that I've heard from that have gone and gotten multiple abortions,
Ooh.
and which is not good for your body.
It's not long term.
Or the baby, and why I struggle to say that abortion shouldn't be legal is when it comes to like the woman, the mother's health perspective, which I know is a small majority.
That's
I
an
can
ectopic
acknowledge.
pregnancy. An ectopic pregnancy and abortion are two completely different things. An
Yep.
ectopic pregnancy is literally when the baby has grown outside of the uterus. That is a life-saving procedure.
Yep.
Those two are two completely different things.
No dispute
There's
there.
Literally, that's because an abortion, you don't want the baby. An ectopic pregnancy, you wanted that child, but the child just grew outside of you. So those aren't the same.
Yeah.
So when
And
it
if-
says life-saving, it's
Yeah.
not. You're literally killing a life.
Well, and the thing is even if we were to grant that it was, we're just going to grant it for the sake of argument that in this particular case, you have to choose between two lives. You're trying to make the best decision you can. Fine, we'll grant. In that case, the mother can always have more kids. But in this case, if you try to have that kid, it could kill them both, right? So we can just kind of grant that and say it's a wash, right? And just even allow those.
Yeah.
I still don't, since that's not even close to the representation of almost every abortion done on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure that bringing that up has any merit. So moving over to when life begins, when does it begin?
It begins at conception.
Oh, you got me chopped. I'm not gonna lie.
Because when people say, "Oh, it's just a fetus," literally go and Google the definition of fetus. It's baby.
based on
That's
conception,
literally what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I know. I
It
can
just
agree
is.
with that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm more so on the pro-life side, but when it does come to like grape and incest,
That's
that's
where I
where
have
I'm
the
just like,
issue.
But literally, if you go on Google, it's free. It's there. 99% of abortions are literally because women are being reckless. They make mistakes. The baby's an inconvenience. You chose the wrong dude. Literally, 1%, less than 1% is because of incest and rape.
Yeah.
And in
Literally
the
what
perfect
it
world,
is.
I would love to say that, like.
I'm not willing to
we-
grant that though either.
That
It is.
So
that's why
like,
I'm like,
no,
yeah.
I'm not willing to grant that it would be
Oh,
okay
okay.
under those circumstances.
Yeah,
so
that's where I'm
let me
just
give
like-
you, maybe I can clear this up for you, right? Let's do just like a kind of a basic logic exercise.
Okay.
If you, right, in this hypothetical, were horribly essayed, could you then go home and kill your son?
So I'm not speaking.
Hang on.
Okay. No.
Wait,
Just
what?
want to answer the question.
What do you mean?
How come?
Oh, wait, I don't understand.
How come
That's
this
mine.
this trauma which happened to you doesn't make it okay to kill your son?
That's mine. It's growing. My baby's growing in me.
Also-
That's part
No,
of
no,
me.
no, no. Your son is out of the
Oh,
womb.
out of me? Oh, that's because you can't murder your child. That's like a living, breathing.
And when do you think it's a child?
literally right. Yeah, I know.
So, so then, wait a second. So then, how could you be for abortion even during SA?
Are you saying that the son is a product of?
No.
So then, how is that connected? I don't understand.
Well, because if you're saying this is a life and this is a life, if you're S8, are you allowed to take a life? The answer is no. So if you say life begins at conception, then this would mean directly after the SA, this is now a life. Then you would have to explain that justification, and she knows that there's no possible way she can. And so for her to be consistent, she would actually have to say no, even during or even as a result of SA, you would not be able to abort. That's the only really consistent. I understand the feeling of it.
Sorry to comment.
You know?
So do you want children to grow up in loveless households or in the system? Because that's what is a result if, women get raped or incest. I mean...
Well, I think that a person who would end up a dominatrix probably grew up in a loveless household, but I don't want to abort you.
Shit.
I mean, that's your opinion.
I'm just saying, ultimately, no. I don't think that because you're poor, you have lesser value as a human being. I don't think because you're a woman or your race or anything like this, you have a lesser value as a human being. I think that human beings have an ontological value. And so I'm a Christian, and I've always believed that this is true. Even before I logically reconciled my beliefs in a God, I always knew that human beings intrinsically had value. I'm not ever going to say that because you're poor, you have no value.
But that's not what I'm getting at.
It is what you're getting at. They're of lesser value. How can you say?
No.
Okay, well then,
I'm saying
why do you want to kill
child
them?
would grow up in a loveless household if they're, I've read
So they have
plenty
lesser
of-
value, right? To
What'd you say?
society?
No, I'm saying there's parents that are regretful and that don't want children. So you would want a kid to be raised in an environment like that?
But would you rather be
why
dead?
do you, hang on.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't want to be raised in an environment
You'd
like
rather
that.
be dead than raised in a loveless household.
Okay, no, but I'm
No.
saying as a fetus,
As a fetus.
you don't have that, obviously.
Well, hang on. I'm just going to engage with this the best way I can to kind of walk you through the logic here.
Not the logic.
Let us assume for a second that that you could read the mind of cows, okay? That you could. A cow is born specifically for the purpose of being eaten. Now, it's going to have a 3-year life cycle or 2-year life cycle until it gets as big as you can get it, and then you're going to humanely put it down, you're going to eat it. If you could ask these cows if they would rather exist for the 2 years or not exist for the 2 years, even knowing at the end of it they're going to get eaten, which do you think they would pick?
I don't think they would pick. I just don't. I mean, I personally, if I knew that my parents didn't want me, I probably wouldn't want to be alive.
Then let's ask you. If you could live 20 years of your life, right, knowing that at the end of that 20 years, the lights would just go out, but you would get eaten by aliens, let's say, would you still choose to be alive if you had good quality of life?
No, I wouldn't want to subject myself to that.
You wouldn't?
No.
Okay, so then why is it you subject yourself to any suffering?
I mean, I think there's different levels of suffering.
You're a dominatrix.
You know what I mean?
You literally perform suffering on people
I'm
and think it's
saying-
hilarious and fun.
I mean, yeah, true. But I'm saying that in the context of a family, a kid that is growing up in an abusive environment by
Yeah,
no
that's
fault
suffering.
of their own.
That's suffering, yeah.
Yeah, it is suffering. And for some people, they don't ever win that battle.
For some
some
people
people
that's true.
are stronger.
But
Some
can you
people-
agree with me that when it comes to trauma, if you're alive, you at least have a shot of moving past trauma?
Sure, you do. But there
and if
are
you're dead,
people that
you have no shot of moving past trauma.
that's fair. But I think growing up knowing that you are the product of rape or incest, that can't be an easy weight to bring around with you.
Yeah, but that's a trauma which can be surmounted. Death cannot be surmounted.
I don't think that's something that you.
In other words,
people
why,
live with it.
why would I want to embrace a doctrine of death instead of a doctrine of life? I want the doctrine of life. I want, even if it is so that the conditions are not going to be optimal for a child who's born, I still think that we don't get to determine to kill them just because we think perhaps they might have a bad quality of life. People can move past suffering, but they can't do it dead.
I mean, I think people can move past suffering, but I think there are levels of suffering that you're going to have to just live with, but you're never going to heal from.
Maybe, but at least you're alive. And many people carry the scars of suffering that they never completely heal from. The death of a loved one, for instance, would be one such category of this. And isn't it still better to be alive with that scar than dead?
I just think the context is a little bit different when you're bringing in the fact that you are the product of incest or rape. That's not a great feeling. And also you
Can a
have to
person
do
a
with
product of incest and rape go on to do amazing things?
Sure they can.
Then why
I'm
do you
not
wanna
saying that
take-
they can't,
then
but I'm
all
just
I want
saying
is the potential.
but
All I
that's-
want is the potential. Even if it's horrible, I just want the potential of knowing that they can to allow them to try.
Jai Vanik donated $200. There are thousands of people who were conceived through SA.
Tons.
Are they lesser than you?
They're not
Is your
lesser by
worth
you.
based on how much your parents desired you?
No.
So I never said that I was better than anyone that was conceived through SA. I obviously know that that's not
You wanna
anyone's
kill 'em.
choice. I never said I wanted to kill them.
Well, I mean,
I'm
that's what
saying
you're
that there are
doing.
some people that can't live with that pain.
Yeah, here's the thing. The vast majority of them can, and humans are resilient. Humans go through horrific things, and they're able to move past those traumas. Knowing that that is true, that you've gone through suffering, that's horrible, and so is everybody at this table, and you're going to keep going through suffering. That's part of the human experience. It's still
That's
optimal.
preventable suffering.
Yeah, but you're still going to be suffering in your life, aren't you?
Yeah, you're still gonna feel bad.
You're going to suffer.
Yeah, but in a different way. I think that unfortunately, like, this is preventable. Like, you can't say that, like, me going through something like a death of a loved one is the same as those are two completely different traumas.
Have you ever
know what I mean?
heard this is an old quote? It's better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all.
Yeah, I have heard that.
What is it? What do you think that means?
I mean, I think I take it for face value. It's better to.
Well, if you had never loved, you could never go through the suffering of losing love, which is one of the worst types of suffering. Losing a kid, losing a parent, losing a sibling, even losing the love of your life to another man or woman or whatever, right? It's still better and preferable, in other words, to go through the suffering of losing that than to have never positioned yourself to suffer at all. Do you agree?
I mean, that's fair. That is a fair statement. But I'm saying that I don't think you should subject an innocent child to that type of situation. And not even just like the sense of you were the product of rape or incest, but the fact that your parents, not all, but some parents resent that. And I've listened to this girl talk about regretful parenting, and she reads stories that people post on Reddit and whatnot, or just send to her individually. And they talk about how much they regret their children. And
Sure.
like, that's not fair.
Wait.
That's not fair to the children.
All of these people who exist currently, who are the product of SA, why aren't they unaliving themselves if their suffering is insurmountable?
Because they're not suicidal? I don't know.
Because their suffering's not insurmountable. Meaning they must have something that they're continuing to live towards and moving towards, right? That makes their suffering surmountable to that of life. Otherwise, they could and do always have the option of ending that, but they don't. So that seems like it's powerful evidence that a person even conceived under those circumstances would still prefer to be alive than dead, because the people who have been aren't unaliving themselves.
I mean, I'm sure there are some that are.
Sure. But it can't be the vast majority, nor even close.
I mean, I understand your statement, but I still stand on how I feel about it, and I'm just saying.
Negative_200 donated $200. Wilson, how do you reconcile your Christian opposition to abortion with the historical involvement of religious groups in wars that have resulted in the loss of many lives?
I don't see how those two things would need to be reconciled. So saying that you are essentially assassinating a child in the womb, because that's what I think you're doing from my perspective, though I understand that's politically charged language, is far different than fighting a war of opposition. Sometimes this is done defensively, sometimes offensively, but justifications for wars are completely different than justification of killing innocent children.
I mean, it's still unnecessary carnage, you know what I mean?
It's not always unnecessary. Sometimes it's necessary carnage. Necessary is a loaded word. You gotta be careful with it, right? Like, it's not necessary for you to be a dommy mommy.
I mean,
right?
I wouldn't call myself a dommy mommy.
Yeah, but it's not necessary, right?
I mean, sure, it's not
It's
necessary.
not necessary.
No,
Necessary
it's not
is
out of necessity.
That's a very loaded, it's a very loaded word.
Okay,
So,
fair enough,
but
loaded.
kind of backing up here, I would like to kind of challenge this just a little bit more before we move on. The idea of, if you and I can agree that most people conceived under the condition of SA are not unaliving themselves, then don't you think that they've been able to surmount the very suffering that you want to eliminate the potential of them even being able to face?
I mean, sure. Of course, there's going to be people out there that are able to move past their suffering and make something of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying in the sense of, if you can prevent any sort of suffering that doesn't need to be had. I mean, part of life, like, you're going to lose a loved one. That's inevitable. But this is something that can be avoided.
But I want you to think about the logical conclusion of this statement. Suffering can be avoided, right? And you're saying death is the ultimate way to avoid suffering. So then the extension of this would be, if you wanted to eliminate suffering in the entire world, what would you do?
Just kill everyone,
right?
right?
Does that make sense to you?
I mean, yeah, it does make sense to me.
Yeah, so you wouldn't want to do that, right? You
No.
wouldn't- Of course not. So when we kind of take this to its logical conclusion of, we want to make sure people can avoid suffering, well, you say we can do this by killing them. I agree. I guess that would avoid all future suffering. But the extension of that is, if suffering is the thing we're trying to avoid, why wouldn't we just do that with everybody?
I get that. I know, but I mean, I think there's, certain types of suffering that do make you, like, quote unquote, stronger. I mean, you gotta appreciate.
Like most kinds. Most
yeah,
kinds
most
usually
kinds
do.
of suffering. Again, I just think that that's something that is, avoidable, and that's where I stand on that.
So I can't sway your mind even with logical argumentation? Like, is there anything I could do with logical argumentation that would sway your mind away from how you feel?
No.
No.
I feel the way I feel, and I felt this way for a long time. So.
Do you think that feeling should trump logic?
I mean, what is logic? Like,
Logic would be the proper and reasoned way in which to ferret out a position which is coherent.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine that without that, nothing in this world would work, including how you get up. Like, you use logic daily and reasoning daily just to get through your day, right?
Fair enough, yeah.
So, I mean, you don't want to trump that with emotion. Making an emotional argument would be counterintuitive, right? You can have all sorts of terrible results from just like, listen to my emotions. That would be, you don't want people to listen to your emotions, right?
I mean, I think emotions are valid.
Sure. Not saying they're invalid. I make tons of emotional decisions.
Mm-hmm.
If I pick a blue-colored truck versus a red-colored truck, that's probably an emotional decision. It's
Not
because,
logic.
Yeah, it's not because I'm getting any like extra performance out of the blue. I just emotionally like blue.
Actually, though, you could use logic for that because, I think they say red cars get pulled over the most.
Yeah, I'm just saying in this case, I'm not.
Yeah,
I just like
No,
blue more.
Fair enough,
right?
fair enough.
But that doesn't really require a logical justification. Nobody's going to ask me to justify why I want a blue over a red truck, right? That's not really a big deal. So I'm willing to concede to you that I use emotions tons, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to a position of life, death, things like this, reason should probably trump emotion, shouldn't it?
I'll allow you each one final response
All right.
on this, and I have to move it on.
Yeah, move it along. I mean, I think we're gonna.
I just want to
We're
answer
gonna
that
keep
last
moving in
question.
circles. Repeat it.
I just want to know if you think ultimately, even knowing that I do think that emotion is valid, that doesn't mean that we should use it in lieu of reason, but we should usually use reason in lieu of emotion if we're making big decisions.
I mean, technically you're correct, but I think it stems a lot deeper when it comes to this subject.
Okay.
All right, going back to Natalie, you said that a guy asked you on a date, told you that you post and wear, what you post and wear, what?
You want me to just explain? Okay.
Yep. Short, please.
So basically, this is I think second date with the guy, and we were at a mall, and I said like something like, "Oh, I have that shirt or something." He's like, "You wear that?" Yes, it was a tank top, by the way. It wasn't anything very revealing. And he's like, "You wear that?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I wouldn't let you out like that." Okay, like why are you out with me then? And then continued to proceed to tell me that he doesn't like what I post on Instagram or what I wear, but asked me out on a date. So I just feel like it's a little contradictory. Yeah. Also was obsessed with his ex, but
Ooh, just red flag after red flag.
yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong there, to be honest.
The obsession with the ex, that's kind of.
Yeah, he would like talk about how he did nothing wrong in the scenario with the ex and like show me receipts, and this was our like second date.
Oh yeah, he wasn't.
Well, okay, we got to do these one at a time. So you were on a date with a guy,
Yeah.
and you were wearing an outfit. You were wearing the outfit, or you were?
No. We were at a mall, and I said like, "Oh, I have that top." It was literally just a tank top. It was like probably very similar to what I'm wearing right now, just like cut off. He was like, "I wouldn't let you wear that."
If you guys were in a relationship.
I mean, I'm assuming that's what he
Well,
meant.
can I
yeah.
ask you a question? So if
Yeah.
would you attempt to prevent your boyfriend from wearing skin-tight jean shorts?
I feel like yes, because that's very unattractive.
That'd be
So couldn't that
embarrassing
just
more than
apply,
anything else.
right? But couldn't that apply to your situation?
But I think his concern was it being attractive.
Well,
Like
okay,
it being appealing to other guys, I think was his
Like
concern. not it being-
risque?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he was alluding to the fact that he thought I was a slut or something.
Right.
Well, I mean, so you were on the second date,
Quite the
right?
icebreaker.
Second date, yeah.
Well, I mean, so prior to dating, you had these photos on your Instagram.
What do you mean?
I don't know. You had.
I didn't date him. I did not date him.
Well, you
Or
went on
like
two
I went on
dates.
dates, but I didn't like. He was not my boyfriend.
Right. So he's trying to establish very early on what his boundaries were.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So prior to dating, I suppose he had no problem or absolutely no authority to say, you were engaging in what he considered single behavior. But assuming the relationship developed to the point where you guys were actually in a relationship, once you started dating, he wanted you to act in a way more commensurate with and more consistent with being in a relationship. And most women have no male guidance when it comes to this at all.
I think that's fine if we were in a relationship, but I feel like that's we
Right, but then women will also argue, well, if it was such an issue, you should have told me sooner. You should have told me up front.
Well, I agree, but that's why I partially ended it. Besides him being obsessed with his ex, I just wasn't comfortable. I think that to an extent, if I'm going out and going to parties and wearing something that's like very risque for male attention, I'm in a relationship. I don't think that's right. But if
For
it's
you to do.
for me to do,
Okay.
I don't agree with that. But like I feel like the shirt would need to be shown for it to like for an example, because it was just something that was very like not anything that I think like anybody would really at this table oppose to or call like over sexual or something like that, or risque even. I think it was very normal talk, which is where I kind of had the problem amongst other problems that I had with him, but that one just was kind of laughable.
Now he said he like opened with this.
Yeah, we were in the mall, and I'm like, I have that
then
top.
It worked. You went on 2 dates with him. It worked.
No, I think she was on, on the second date.
This was date
on
number
the second
Oh,
date.
you were on the second
And the
date,
thing
okay.
with the bigger part was with me is, I said to him, I was like, I post this stuff. He found me through Instagram, like through mutual friends. You saw my Instagram, you liked it, so it obviously worked.
Right.
Like, what's the?
Okay, so again, though, prior to dating, he had no problem with you engaging in that sort of behavior. But now that he met you on a second date, he probably wanted to see things further along. He was starting to lay out his boundaries for what he considered acceptable behavior from a potential girlfriend.
Sure, I feel like there's just better ways to go about it than being like.
Well, men are blunt communicators.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he sounds insecure, you know,
How
and
is it
especially.
insecure?
That's what I think.
I mean, I think
I
it sounds
kinda agree.
insecure because
I
it's like, especially if like she's saying that it was similar to this
It
top.
was very
like,
modest. It wasn't. I don't go out wearing things that are like outrageous. Like I don't, and I just think that.
Well, we
It
don't
was-
know what it. Is there a photo of it somewhere on
I could.
Instagram?
I
or
think it's on my Instagram.
Similar to what
It
she's
was
wearing
like
now.
a basic urban outfitter.
Yeah, it
like
was-
just think of a tank top.
It was a tank top.
I always find this idea odd of insecurity, though.
I think it's insecure in the sense that, not insecure, but I think it's a lack of trust that you have in
Lack of trust.
your, say, potential girlfriend, that you think that I would be going out and wearing these things to attract other men.
Yeah, but when I think of insecurity, I would think the opposite. I would think that saying upfront what it is that you want or don't want would be a sign of security, not a sign of insecurity.
I think it just
A
wasn't.
sign of insecurity to me would be like, I want to tell you this preference or this thing, but I'm going to be passive aggressive, or I'm just going to lead hints or things like that. That would lead me more towards the thought of insecurity versus here's what I want and here's why I want it. That sounds like somebody who's secure in what their preferences
Well,
are.
what about
think the
brooding over
way-
your ex-girlfriend? Like
I just
that's
think
Well, now,
insecure.
hang on. Again, we're going to untangle the two ideas. Totally agree with you on the obsession of the ex-girlfriend thing. Red flag, I'd get the fuck away from that.
Yeah.
But on the idea of moderate dress, to Brian's point, I don't think that could be insecurity. That seems like a secure person would say
I
that.
think
Split.
it's more of like the way that it was said and like the other comments that have been made, I think is like kind of the thing that we're missing here, where it was like, you dress that way for male attention, which
Did you?
no, not at all. Like if you, I feel like it's hard to explain without seeing the top in question, but like
But
it's
was he-
no
was
different
he-
to what I'm wearing right now.
Was he kind of saying that in the context of the entirety of your social media?
It was like kind of two separate conversations where I started it with like I don't wear that for male validation, blah 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 blah, and he was saying that like the stuff that I've had on my Instagram is that you're telling me that's not for male validation. It wasn't in my head for male validation. I think that's kind of where I had the issue with it.
I see.
Where it's saying that he thinks that I'm only posting the stuff
Private.
and stuff like that for male validation.
Gotcha.
Where in my head, it's like a lot of the stuff I post, especially after losing so much weight, it's like I'm really confident in how I look now and I'm proud of how far I've come. Let me show.
Well, we'll
show
pull
that.
up your Instagram.
I mean, that's
then.
for validation, though, right? That would be
But not
that
by
would be
men,
definitionally
not by
validation.
men, not like not in like a sexual way. Just being like, I'm proud of how far I've come. I'm proud of what I look like. I'm gonna show it off.
But not in a sexual way.
No.
Here, pull
Not
it
in a
up.
way that would bring sexual attention. Really?
Okay. Scroll down a little bit, slow, please.
This is for you women out there.
This is
That
all right.
has
This is
nothing
her
to do with men
Instagram.
at all.
I can show you the top
Scroll
in
down.
question.
Put us on the other side, Nick. Put us on the other.
The
Is
top in question is no. Go
Is
down.
it the one where you're at the table there?
No.
Scroll down.
It is
This one with
no
the-
at the wall with the cup of coffee, the white strip, the black shirt,
Up.
the one where I'm wearing like a
Up.
cardigan over
Top
it.
left corner.
That one. That was the exact top.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with him.
That you wouldn't.
What? No.
You think that's not modest?
I don't think.
You think that I post
well,
that
first of all,
craving
no.
male
I would say that
validation?
no, that's immodest. But even if I were to concede that it was modest,
Okay.
after looking at your social media, if you're going to tell me that you're not putting those pictures up because you want validation from men,
No.
I'm very skeptical. And so maybe I'm wrong, and that's all for women. You just want to show women the transformation you're about. Maybe that's true. Okay, I'm not in your head. I can't
Yeah,
tell.
That's fair.
But I can definitely understand why a guy would be skeptical of that.
I think that's fair, but I think that the conversation should be had instead of just it being a blanket statement. We're assuming that I'm a slut. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, what would the conversation be? It would be you saying, no, This is for the validation of a bunch of women. I want a bunch of women to look at me, validate me,
Not
right?
in that way.
He's gonna be like, look, I just don't believe that, and there's no it's not falsifiable. In other words, he can't be like, that's not true because he can't read your thoughts.
You're telling me, though, if you say right now, lost a shit ton of weight, got a six-pack, best shape of your life, that you wouldn't want to show that off?
I would not, no. In fact, I'd go out my way
You wouldn't
not
be proud
to.
of it if it's something that you worked for?
I might be proud of it, but there's a difference between that and trying to put myself in a situation where I was being sexually provocative towards the opposite sex.
Can I ask you that question as someone that does fitness?
Yeah, I was thinking. So honestly, I don't agree because I've seen so many men that have had huge body transformations and then they take their shirt off finally because they never felt comfortable doing that in the first place. And then they like how they look. They're proud of the results that they've got. Yeah. And then same with women. A lot of women, they lose a lot of weight and then they,
Look, I also know ortho bros, okay? One of which, his name is David Patrick Harry, Church of the Eternal Logos. And this guy is fucking shredded. And he does not post sexually provocative pictures of himself, even though he's in, and he definitely had a body transformation. He just doesn't do that. And the reason he doesn't do that is because he knows that that's going to lead towards validation from the opposite sex, which he does.
Mesmer's remembrance says, a malevolent snake writhed within Mesmer, and so his very mother plucked out his eye and put in its place a seal of grace. Yet having done so,
doesn't want.
But I don't. What's provocative? If they choose to validate it, they like to see it. Good for them. That's not why I post it.
I get that. I totally understand. And I even believe you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take myself and put myself in the shoes of the onlooker.
Yeah.
So from the outsider's perspective looking at it. There's no reason for me to conclude that any man who was viewing that wouldn't think that you were trying to get the validation in a two-piece bathing suit.
None of the bathing suit posts were up at the time.
Okay,
but sure.
I got it. But there's no reason that I would assume that any random man viewing that wouldn't think you were looking for sexual validation from men. There's no reason for me to think that.
I think I see what you're saying, but I think that's also like if you want to get to know me and separate that from my story and why I post that kind of stuff because I'm proud of it.
What about this idea of red flags? The whole idea of the red flag is that just based on XXX behavior, whether you try to justify it, for instance, she goes up on the house on Haunted Hill where this guy's gonna fucking serial axe murder her, right? She's like, if this fucking door closes, I am doomed. My life is gone. This guy's gonna hack me up. He's gonna put me in little pieces and put me in his freezer, right? That's what she's thinking in her head. Am I wrong?
Oh, no.
Massive red flag, right? Did he even do anything wrong, though? Not really. He didn't actually do anything wrong, but he gave like a feeling, a red flag vibe.
But
now
then
the daddy thing, that was
But when they
that was
discussed
crazy,
it was fine. That's why I'm like,
No. It really wasn't
I
fine.
didn't
When they
really
discussed
find
it,
that-
she said he was like, but I'm a good person. You can talk to my besties.
Well,
they
I
say
think-
I'm the greatest.
I think
They
that's
say
the
I'm
bigger-
phenomenal. They say I'm fantastic. And she wasn't buying none of that shit.
Well, because
she was like, nope, I don't fucking believe a word that you're saying. And so she's thinking from an outsider's look in, same thing, right? They're probably going to think, big red fucking flag.
I see how it's
You see what I
contradictory.
mean?
I'm not disagreeing with
Well,
you.
it's not
I just think-
contradictory. I'm just saying that you haven't contradicted yourself. I
Yeah.
totally believe you. You don't post any of those pics for the purpose of male validation.
I really don't.
100% believe you. But if we can flip the coin for a second.
I could see the perspective, and I don't think that it was inherently wrong. I think the way that it was presented was wrong, where he was saying, like, so you don't just post pictures of your boobs for like validation in men, like that's all you want from it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then him assuming from that I've slept with a bunch of people and all that stuff, and deciding not to believe me when I told him no.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But I don't think there's actually anything wrong with men looking at certain cues that tend to be associated with female promiscuity and just jumping to those conclusions. Like if a woman is blasted in tattoos, sternum tattoos, dresses a certain way, I'm going to assume, for example, she's not a virgin. We actually had a woman on the show like 2 weeks ago. Andrew, you were there. This 3 girls claimed to be virgins. I don't know what the truth was. One of them on her Instagram like had a sternum tattoo and like a full thing on her side. I'm like, could a virgin be blasted in tattoos like that? I suppose you don't need to have sex in order to get tattoos, but I'm just gonna jump to conclusions anyways as a guy and be like,
yeah, it's the red. Since
when does a woman with a sternum tattoo, like, how are you a virgin?
You think because I post that it alludes to that I'm not a virgin?
No.
Or-
And he wasn't even conflating.
It was about the sternum.
Yeah, he's just saying, from
Sorry,
my
I was lost.
perspective,
Has a sternum
this
tattoo.
entire tattoo thing would be a massive red flag that would cause me to disbelieve your motivations.
Okay,
Or
I see what
disbelieve
you're
the things
saying.
that you're saying. And so in the same case here with this guy that you're dating, he's thinking the same thing, right? Sure. Oh, yeah, sure. That was for girls because you wanted to show your body valid. You know what I mean? From his perspective, of course he's not going to think that, because every other woman who's posting similar pics like this is, and we're pattern
I would
recognition
agree.
machines, right?
Yeah.
And most of them are out humping everything with a penis. So they're like, I'm not sure, right?
I could see how it was presented that way. I think it was more the way that he said it is what I took offense to, and the not believing me after a conversation was like one of the many red flags that happened all on that same date.
Gave you the ick.
He gave me the ick several
Gave you the
times.
ick.
He was also just a very, not insecure because of the, potential slut shaming, but insecure in the fact that he was actually just a very insecure
Can you look
man.
right at the camera and say, he gave me the ick?
Which camera do I look at?
That one.
That one?
Which one?
Which one do I look at?
Look at this one. This one. There
Center?
you go.
No, this one.
Ready? We're good?
There you go. 1, 2, 3.
He gave me the ick, the major ick.
Major ick.
I do have to move things on here. Going to Gracie, you said your first boyfriend situationship cheated on you while you were out of town for your sister's wedding. You found out through other people texting, asking if we were together and sending me pics of them together. So you said first boyfriend / situationship.
It's working out well
This
for you.
was
So it was your boyfriend or not your boyfriend?
on and off, but it was like a high school sophomore year relationship, very immature. I didn't know very much. He didn't either. But we were dating at the time of this happening, but we were like on and off affiliated with each other for like a year and a half.
So were there any overt communications about monogamy or just seeing each other? This is exclusive.
We were exclusively seeing each other for the whole like year and a half that we were
Wait, hold on.
affiliated.
Was there an overt conversation about that?
Yes, multiple times.
Okay, so we're monogamous, we're just seeing each other. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
well, I mean, he cheated on you. Yeah.
So I'm from California. My sister lives in Utah. She's like 9 years older than me. She was getting married, and once again, like this was in high school. So there was an upcoming dance. I think it was homecoming or something. And in the weeks leading up to the dance, I was like, oh, dang it, like I can't go. My sister's wedding is happening, blah, blah, blah. I communicated it. And what set it off like immediately as just weird was that he asked if he could bring another girl. And I was just thrown off in general. I was like, first of all, why would you want to? Second of all, I don't understand the point because everybody in the group they were going with didn't have a date. Like all the guys, if they didn't have a girlfriend, they didn't bring anyone. And I would say it's like 50-50 who didn't have girlfriends. And
wait, he asked you if he could bring another girl?
yes, he asked me if I could bring another girl. And I was like,
to the dance or to the wedding?
To the dance.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was going out of town for the wedding. And I was already bummed because, like, again, this was my first, like, guy who's ever really shown interest in me. So I was so excited to have, like, a guy to go to a dance with, you know? But besides the point, I was way more excited for my sister's wedding. So I go, I'm just like, okay, I'll make the most of it. Like, this is such an exciting thing to be at. And the reception and ceremony happened to be the exact same day as the dance. So, like, nighttime rolls around, I'm at the wedding party, and I start getting these texts from people, and Utah is 1 hour ahead of California time. So I'm getting texts, like, the night is winding down while the after party for whatever dance was going on is happening. And multiple people, like, from different friend groups start texting me, like, are you guys dating officially? Like, because everybody kind of knew that we were at least affiliated or just with each other and weren't seeing other people. So it was just like a weird vibe, I'd imagine, seeing from an outsider's perspective. So I was receiving all these texts, just kind of thrown off. And I didn't want to talk to him about it immediately because I was just like, this is going to ruin the night that I'm having. Like, I don't want to ruin my sister's wedding over this, you know? So I let it be, and then eventually when I got back to my hotel room, the party was still happening. So being a girl that I am, I made a fake Snapchat account. Nobody knows this, not even like my sister. I made a fake Snapchat account, and I added him, and of course he added me back immediately. And I started snapping him like black screens, like trying to talk to him, like engaging in conversation with him. And maybe like 4 snaps in, I'm like, oh, do you have a girlfriend, by the way? Just to see what he would say. Because I was like, what is he telling this girl? Which, by the way, if I'm with a guy at a party and he's snapping a girl he just added on Snapchat, that is so weird. Just a bajillion red flags going up regardless. But he responds to that with, I don't have a girlfriend. And I was just like, okay, I'm lighting his ass up. Like, this is not happening, whatever. But I decided to, again, keep it calm until I got back home to actually talk to him about it. But everything kind of unfolded once I got back home. I was just kind of over it, and I saw photos from both his phone and 2 other people who, again, weren't in the same friend group, just happened to, like, snipe them together at the party because they were like, this is wrong. She needs to know about it. And, yeah, I went over to his house, yelled at him to the point where his mom, like, came out and was like, I think it's time to go. Like, the neighbors can hear you. But, yeah, that was the end of that. And I'm typically not very angry, like, as a person, so it took a lot out of me. But yeah.
How did you yell at him? Like, pretend I'm your ex-boyfriend.
Oh, I was...
Go ahead, yell at me.
I had a whole, like...
No, let's do it.
It wasn't even...
Role play. Let's do it. Go ahead.
I would have to really dial in right now.
Yeah, dial in.
I'm trying to think, because I had a whole, like, list. I had a list of things that I was going through, like, that bothered me, that hurt me, just everything. And I was just one after another, you know?
There were bullet points.
Yeah, exactly. I had bullet points. He got a couple words in, but there wasn't much for him to say anyway. But, yeah. I don't even think I could reenact it.
How about just the tone? What was the tone?
I don't know. It was very therapeutic, I can say that. But...
Were you yelling? You said you were yelling.
I was yelling. Because it started as just a conversation because I genuinely wanted to hear what he had to say. It was, to me, it was funny at that point because I was so over it. But, yeah, the switch definitely flipped and I started yelling at him pretty, like, pretty angrily.
Well, what did he say? Was he making
He started, like,
excuses?
profusely apologizing after, well, at first he
When you
was
say
trying
cheat,
to...
like, so he was with, was he just with a girl? Like, were they doing things?
Yes,
Maybe
well,
I missed that part.
He, like, they made out or something like that.
Something.
I don't, that's the issue, is I still don't even know what fully happened, but I did see a, like, photo of them, like, making out. So, at least I know that happened.
Yep,
you know, exactly. Yeah.
Next thing, okay, your boyfriend lied to you about not being a what?
So, this was my most recent boyfriend, and
If
the
you
only,
can,
like...
Can you just condense? You got to try to condense it, like...
Okay, so this is the guy I dated for about 6 months. At the beginning of the relationship, he seemed pretty insecure, just, like, kind of questioned a lot of stuff about me, and one of the things he tried to bring up a lot was just, like, sex and body count and that type of thing, and I don't know if he was trying to impress me or show me that he was, like, experienced or something, which to me kind of put me off, but he said that he had, I don't even remember what number it was, but, like, a moderately high body count. And I was just like, okay, like I don't really care about that. I understand. I don't really care. And come to find out after everything unfolded that he was a virgin and just never told me. And not only did he not tell me, he would like make up stories about these girls. And a lot of them I like personally knew because this was a guy who went to the same high school as me. So I would like go out and see these people and be like, oh, so he's like had sex with her, he's had sex with her, like, okay, noted. And then just I found out through his friend after we broke up that he was a virgin. Which isn't a problem. Is not a problem at all.
It's weird to lie about it. Why would you lie about stories about it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why would you lie about it?
Women lie about being virgins all the time.
But like telling in-depth stories with name drops is a little, it's a little wild.
But even so, woman or man, like why would anyone? You know, like he just has to be a guy. We don't have to throw it out like, well, women.
I mean,
no, I think that's so crazy.
Hold on, whoa, stop. One person at a time. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just think that is crazy, man or woman doing that someone would be like making up stories about who they, and I slept with her, and like especially telling stories in depth, like man or woman, that's wrong.
Yeah. It was off-putting to say the
Well,
least.
I mean, men would lie about it so that he can be seen as more experienced.
But then
and then women will lie in the opposite way so they can come off as more innocent or pure or whatever.
So both are wrong, though. Like the best thing is just people to tell the truth.
I think you should be honest.
Tell the truth about
of course.
how many you've slept with. Yeah.
I think it's also one thing to be like, say it's a number, like, oh, like I slept with 2 girls, but telling like in-depth stories and saying people that you know and we all know are the ones that he had slept with.
Were you a virgin?
Yes, at the time, yeah.
You were both virgins.
Aww.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, they both virgins.
Because I could sort of understand the justification of a man, like if he's dating a girl who's not a virgin and he's a virgin, he wouldn't want like. Again, I think you should tell the truth, but I can sort of understand it a little bit. Not saying it's right, but you said love bombing and how easy it can be to be blind to it.
This is the same guy.
Okay,
but,
can you be brief though?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of general stuff. Again, he was like the second guy who gave me a lot of male attention, and I thought it was great, whatever, like he's really into me, this is great, he like acknowledges things that I don't think most people see about me, and I just felt really seen and understood and supported, and it ended up being a lot of manipulation that I was kind of blind to until it was way too late. And then even at that point, like this is the guy I tried to break up with like 3 months in. At that point, even after I broke up with him, because consciously, I knew that it was not good for me, that something was going wrong. After I tried to, I was like broken down, and I genuinely thought my life was like gonna be nothing without him, like all these just toxic thoughts. And after a lot of like thoughts on that, I realized that it was all just love bombing.
Okay. You said specifically for the women, dating to decide if you like the guy, not if he likes you, or trying to fit the mold you think he wants you to fit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of says it all. It's super easy to go out with somebody and be like, oh, do they like me? Like, I wonder what they think about me. Especially as a girl, like, we are taught to appease people, especially men, just growing up. And I think it's really easy to fall into that instead of thinking like, oh, how will this guy be able to further my life, you know?
Well, hold on. But it's not clear to me as a woman if you would even give a fuck if you don't like the guy, why would you give a fuck if he likes you or not? So the only scenario where you would come to this, like, does he like me thing? Because I hear this thing of like, you shouldn't worry if like the guy likes you, you have to think, do I like the guy, right? Because that's what you wrote, dating to decide if you like the guy. But you're only going to be thinking that if you like the guy.
No. Can I add something?
You're gonna just try to fuck a guy you don't like.
No. I think I think that what that means is some women, let's say they are.
No.
No,
okay,
listen.
sorry, I'll let you say your thing. But
Yeah.
okay.
No, let's say someone's going for validation, that maybe they are liking this validation they're getting from this person, giving them this attention, this love, and they're going, wow, this is so great. Oh, like, because they are receiving this love. So the question is, rather than just looking, oh, and am I pretty enough? Am I good? Am I skinny? Am I this enough for this person? Hey, take a pause, woman. Look at this guy. Who is he? What does he do? Do you like it? Do you guys have things in common? Rather than getting caught up in the fact that he's giving you all this love and attention. That's, I think, what the core is of that quote,
hold
though.
on. This is crazy.
Right?
Bro,
Am I right?
Exactly.
Thank you.
That was perfect.
No. That's actually crazy. That's actually crazy because women are bombarded with attention and validation, and you guys have no issue curving, ignoring, and rejecting those men. Right?
You're right.
I don't.
Bro, like, you think if I just show interest in a girl, that's enough to get her to like me back? Hell no. Women are way more picky than men are. Women ask for way more than men do. So how could it possibly be the case that I don't even see how that makes any sense?
Well, I don't know if I could necessarily explain it further, but literally every single one just nodded like, oh, yes, it's 100% relatable.
No,
if
it's
anyone
like
can add on to it.
platitude. It's like an empty platitude. You got to figure out if you like the guy.
I think
Not like, does he like it doesn't make any sense.
it's more like, do you, not based off of like not just initial attraction. We're talking about people I think in general, if we can all agree that we're already initially physically attracted to. It's, do you like the attention that they're giving you and the validation and they're saying the right things to you? So it makes you think, oh, like I can really see a future with this guy.
If you weren't into him, you wouldn't care.
But we're not talking about like
initially
fucking the
into
guy. We're
looks.
talking about like going into a relationship, like seeing if it's worth going into a relationship with, right?
But
Yeah,
if the things weren't there that made you attracted to him, there would be no questioning.
But we're saying like
On a deeper level, not just physical.
Like, is he not just giving me attention and validation? I find him physically attractive. Is there something deeper here? Can we have good conversation? Is he a man that I could see being in my future, or is he just giving me the attention that I need right now? I think that's the kind of difference. You get what I'm saying?
I mean,
is that confusing?
A little bit.
Because I think the part that's throwing you off is like, or does he just like me? It's more like he's saying the right things and giving me the attention, and I am physically attracted to him. But is there something like deeper here? Like,
And
is there an
also, is
actual
this-
connection?
And is it just word without action backed up? And then now you, as a woman, are projecting all these things into the future. And oh, and what the wedding's going to be like. And, and then it's just like, whoa, pull it back. Look at this guy. What does his Monday through Friday look like? Is he just playing video games 24/7? Does he have a job? Like, are these words just empty words with no promises? Is he saying that to 7 other women right now? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a man could be giving me attention, and I could be like, someone could have like a hole in their heart almost, like there's something missing. So then a man's giving you this attention, you are almost, for a time, it's an instant gratification. Oh, yay, oh, that's great. But it's like, rather than just jumping into a relationship with that person, which people can do because it feels good, this instant gratification, you can pause and actually assess who that person is, and is there something more there, or is this someone who you're, in a way, just using to fill a void where you don't have to face yourself and whatever struggles you're facing inside?
Ours.
I just feel like that's dating.
It's like liking the idea of a guy
so
versus
dating.
actually liking him.
So just dating, I just don't understand this whole like, I shouldn't be focused on if he likes me. I need to figure out if I like him.
Yeah. Like,
I think it's just easy to get lost in the idea of like, oh, this guy's into me, so I have to be into him back.
Women are, hold on. This is maybe something that can apply to men, but women are bombarded with sexual and romantic attention. So you guys have no problem curving and rejecting guys who are into you. You do it all the time. So I don't understand that. You're saying every single guy who shows interest in you, you end up dating them?
No, and I
You're
also
an attractive
don't
woman.
feel
You're all
like
attractive women. Well, hold on.
Every one of us is a 10.
Everyone's, oh, sorry, you're all 10s.
Solid
You're all
10s.
10s.
Damn.
All 10s.
Brutality.
You're all attractive women. I'm sure you have a lot of potential suitors. I'm sure you have a lot, if you're on Instagram, dating apps, in person, whatever. I'm sure there's no shortage of men who find you attractive, who'd want to date you. I'm also sure that there's no shortage of men, God damn, what the fuck?
2 for 2.
Sorry, I swear, it's the champagne. I'm drunk. That strong ass, it's actually German champagne.
Hey.
So there's no shortage of, why can't I say this word? There's no shortage of men you just reject.
But
No shortage.
we're saying only
Do you
guys
want
that we
an
find
example?
attractive initially.
Huh?
We're saying only guys that we find attractive
Yeah.
initially, though. And
Do you
they're
want
giving
an
us the
example?
attention. It's like, do you like him on a deeper level, or
Oh no,
is it?
you're attracted. You like a guy who you find physically attractive.
'cause
Heaven forbid.
No, we're not talking about just like sleeping with the guy. We're talking about having and establishing an
Well,
actual relationship.
I think you guys are arguing past each other. So you're essentially saying the same thing, just in different ways. So Brian's right. He's saying, listen, if the attraction in this type of thing wasn't there to begin with, then you wouldn't give a shit if this person had any reciprocal interest or not. And so that's true. Right? I don't think that there's any way that cannot be true. But if what you mean by this is even if that interest is reciprocal, I still have to make a decision as to whether I actually do like him, then I don't think that there's any conflict here. I think that makes sense on both angles. Is that what's going on?
I think
It's just like literally what going on a date is. You're going on a date to find out if you vibe with someone. I don't get how it's like a 10-minute discussion.
Anyways, I will move it on a little
Because I'm
bit. But
older.
going back to more of your notes, Gracie, you got some bombs in here.
You just kind of intuit some things, right? You're just like, yeah, this is just how it is.
What did she write?
She's got bombs. So
Some of them I may not
you
want to
said-
elaborate on.
Sure. You think women and men play very different roles in relationships, and leading into a role is what can make a relationship long-lasting, healthy, and fulfilling for both parties. So what are the different roles?
I mean, I think we kind of went into this with like the whole chasing whatever type of thing, but especially when it comes to like women just naturally being more emotional. Like, I think it's important for women to tap into that and allow for a man to be a, like, supporter, you know? Like,
what do you mean
I don't want to say supporter, more like a provider.
Listening to you bicker?
No, I kind of mean it the opposite way. Like, women should emotionally support men while women can, like, we have a strong suit in emotionally supporting people as a whole, and specifically men, while they typically would provide. And I think
Nick,
that is great.
Why did you laugh at that?
We wouldn't have much of a podcast.
Oh, I thought you were laughing at the whole, like, women emotionally
that?
supporting
So
men
you
thing.
wouldn't have much of a podcast if we all just sat here quiet, though.
True.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in a relationship.
general?
Yeah, I
You
don't
should shut
argue
the
about
fuck
dating
up.
dynamics with, like, if I'm dating a girl, it's the last thing I want to do
Yeah.
if I'm when I'm dating somebody. But so okay, women they support their man. Isn't it the opposite though? Men are like women are.
Emotionally,
you
I
cheated
think.
on me in a dream. Oh, fuck you. Oh, you cheated. It's your fault that I dreamt of you cheating on me.
Yeah,
which
I've done
is
that
the
a couple
next time.
times.
Oh, you've done it. Yeah, I was dating a girl once, and she was like,
Now
I
make me
dreamed.
feel better about my
Fuck
dream.
you, you were in my
right? Now
dream.
make me feel better about my dream.
But I think it's important to feel that and to, like, not that specific example, but to tap into your emotions as a woman.
Wait, so what are the different roles though? Like,
I
so
mean,
the woman emotionally supports.
I don't have, like, a fully, like, fledged out
What about the woman is
argument
submissive?
on this.
What do you think about that?
I think that in a marriage, I think in a
Well, who said anything about marriage? Should be on
marriage,
the first date. Nick, pull up the Val video.
oh my gosh.
I need this on the first date.
First date.
I think it
Can you, stand
depends
your
on the
mic a
type
little
of
bit,
woman to
Enya?
begin with, but
like-
typically,
Tip it down.
Go ahead.
like, for myself, I would be so happy to, like, raise children and be fulfilled in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, I can't speak for every woman, and I don't mean to, you know?
Well, you can still be submissive before you're married. But you think you
I'm
should-
here to learn
Wait,
and
why
change
is
my
that-
mind,
Enya,
so
why are you
please.
laughing? How do you say submissive in German?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
You don't know? Do you know what I'm talking about though?
Say it another time.
Well, why did you laugh? What was funny?
Because you're looking at her and then
Wait, I'm what?
you were looking at her and then I just started laughing.
The irony of me being a dominatrix. We're talking about submissive women.
Wait, is that? I don't think that was. No, I was just curious.
I just don't think
I didn't even make that
I'm
connection.
looking at her. I don't know.
Was it the way I was looking at her?
I'm not sure what's going on.
I was looking at you?
No, I just started laughing because you was looking at her.
Oh, like from 5 minutes ago? Well, not from 5 minutes ago?
Yeah.
When, like the 10th thing, and then
I'm so fucking lost right now. I don't know what's going on.
it was like a delayed. Hold on, it was like a 5 minutes later. No, it's good. Wait, it's okay.
That's kind of all I have to elaborate.
Should women be submissive to men? Like a guy.
I don't want to take a polarized stance on that because I think
No,
each-
take a polarized.
I don't want
No,
to.
you can though.
but I don't want to. And I think that,
Is that like the hot button issue, being submissive and
I don't
dominant?
think
that's
that-
pretty tame.
I just don't want to speak for people who might feel differently than me, you know?
No, you can.
for me personally, I would love to be a stay-at-home mom and be submissive to my husband. But I'm not going to say that that's right for every woman.
No, you can say that. Say it.
I don't want to,
Say it.
and I'm not going
Say
to.
it with your chest.
Disagree.
Don't say
I'm not
that.
going to.
Say it with your chest.
Well,
Gracie.
let me ask it a different way. Do you think that the results for most women, if they followed the idea of being a stay-at-home mom and submission to their husband, that the results for most of them would probably be good?
Yeah, I think in general that is what brings women the most fulfillment.
Yeah.
But I do think that that may be different for some people, and that's why I don't want to
now,
make a
Brian,
blanket
another
statement.
way that this could be said, just so you know, is that she thinks most women should be submissive. I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
So now both of you got what you
Thank
wanted.
you.
Boom.
Wait, is that a bad
Mission
thing to say?
No, we're trying to
I'll
get her to
say
say it. That's why I was like,
You can say it. I
I'll
just
say
don't
it
want to
with
speak
my
for people who
chest,
aren't me.
I think that you could also be submissive and have a career and be a great.
Yeah.
I don't think that's.
Why do you think more women aren't
I think
having
you're right.
kids?
I think you could be submissive
To your
and
husband.
have a career unless your husband said, "I don't want you to have a career."
I think being
And then if you
submissive
said
and
no
independent.
to him, that would be what? That would be the opposite of submission, right?
What I would define submission as is that it's a discussion between the, like, say there's an issue, it's a discussion, but ultimately, if the man is financially responsible for the family and is the leader of the family, that he takes
Doesn't
the
sound
final
like
decision.
submission.
If he makes a final decision, how's that not submissive?
Well, because what if he doesn't want your input on the decision?
Okay, then no. I
Okay,
think
well then,
I-
that's really well then. Hang on, that's really weird, because that sounds like it sounds to me like if he doesn't want your input on it at all,
Input at all.
and then goes not on everything, but just maybe one thing or two things.
That's
If he's
fine.
just like, yeah, I don't fucking care what you think about this. I'm going to do this.
I think it depends on what the matter is. If it's like where the kids are going to school or where we're living, I would like to have some sort of opinion.
Yeah, but what if?
I
what
think
if he
that's
says,
just a lack of respect,
I
not
think it's a lack of
submission.
respect. I don't think it's submission.
How is it lack of respect?
If you are
To not give a fuck about what your partner thinks
In
or
some instances, yeah, I wouldn't give a shit
I
about
would
what
not
my
wanna
wife
be-
thought about all kinds of things. I wouldn't give a shit about what she thought about all sorts of different things. I wouldn't give a fuck. But here's the thing: why should I? Why? If ultimately,
she's part of
if
the
ultimately
partnership,
I'm
too.
the decision maker, if there's certain things that I don't want her input
Because you don't
on,
care about how she feels or her opinion, then?
because ultimately, regardless of how she feels or her opinion, I'm going to do it anyway.
I mean, I think that's a lack of respect.
Why is
in
that
the
a lack of
relationship because you're
respect?
not respecting her feelings or what she would maybe want, even though it's
Well, then
ultimately
it
your
sounds
decision.
to me like you don't really want submission. You want equality, and then,
I don't
that's
though.
fine. It's equality where he pays for everything, and then occasionally you'll let him have the final say. Isn't that kind of
Not
you?
occasionally, no. I'm still saying he can have the final say as long as if it's a conversation
All
that we
right.
can
Well,
have.
let's find out. So you're with your husband.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're like, I want the kids to go over here because it's 15 minutes closer.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's going to make my day possible. Otherwise, I'm going to have to rearrange everything. It's going to be a big fucking pain in the ass. Blah 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 blah. I want him to go here. And he says, yeah, I want him to go to this other school though.
Why?
Yeah. And he says, because I do.
Sorry, but
Yeah, so that doesn't sound like
Because
submission to me. That sounds like I have to convince you that I'm right and have you okay it. That's what that sounds like to me.
this is the thing. I would like to play a more submissive role in my marriage. Maybe not complete submission, but a more submissive role.
Yeah,
and
that's
I was
not
talking
submission.
about this.
That's just egalitarian bullshit. You're masking as submission. When I give you an example of a time where he says, I don't need to justify this, this is what's going to happen, you say, well, it's not going to
I think-
happen
well,
because you
no,
gave me no
I'm not saying-
justification.
I'm
Hang
not-
on, let me finish and then I'll let you talk. You gave an example where he says, I don't need to give you a justification for this thing. I just need it done and I'm the decision maker. You said, nope, that ain't going to fly.
I never said it's not going to happen. I just think I wouldn't want to be a part of a marriage with someone that doesn't value my
Yeah,
opinion.
that you have to submit to. I get it.
But I would want to submit to them. Just have
As
my
long as they
opinion.
did exactly what you want, you would submit.
so I'm not
Awesome.
trying to
You're not
That
listening
is
to what I'm saying.
fantastic.
Past
You're not
tense.
listening to
I'm
what
listening.
I'm saying that I'm fine with them making the ultimate decision if
it coincides with everything
but
you
I would
want.
like there to be some logic behind it. Them just saying because I want to is not like
Wait, why does a person you're submitted to need to justify their logic to you?
because I think that's basic respect.
Oh, okay. It's basic respect. But even if they say, I don't want to justify the logic to you, I just want this done, right? You say, no, I'm not doing that unless it's within the purview of what I want.
You're missing. I'm not saying no. What I'm saying is I wouldn't be in a marriage with someone.
Right, that you would have to submit to.
No.
So it's
Yeah.
like past
Yeah.
tense.
I don't
Okay,
think
and
submission.
I think you can have
that
those
is
things.
fine.
That's not
She's
what
allowed to
it
have her own
said, though.
definition
She
of
can
what
have a
she wants
definition
in
of
her life.
submission as
I
long
was
as submission
expecting
doesn't
to-
mean submission.
I'll admit that it's not complete submission, but
Great.
I would like to be a more submissive role in my marriage. Is that a good stance?
Oh yeah, if you say
And I
I'd like to be more submissive, but I would just kind of add the qualifier as long as you can justify to me what it is that you want to do and I agree with it, then that's the kind of marriage because that's what you're actually saying you want.
I feel like it's beyond just that. It's basic respect, like she said.
What's that?
It's basic respect, like she said, which I know
But
that
if
you
you're not-
disagree with, and that's fine. But
If you're not going
at the end of the day, that
I
is
want to understand.
respect.
What about the respect the other way? For the person who
Because
is the
it's
To have an
decision-maker?
open conversation about it.
We're
to
having a
ask,
conversation right now,
To
right?
ask about it.
The most respectful thing you can do is adhere to my word. So if that's the most respectful thing you can do is adhere to my word, not question it, then how are you respecting me as my wife?
I'm asking for
We have different
reasoning. Yeah, I think we
definitions of
have different-
respect.
Different definitions of respect. We're
No,
having-
we have the same definition of respect. I'm saying that respect means one thing to you when it comes to how you're treated. I'm saying that there's also treatment the other direction. You're assuming that a man wants to be respected the same way you do. He doesn't. He has a whole different value structure of how he wants you to respect him.
How do you show respect to your wife?
Yeah.
Oh, all sorts of ways, right? I basically give her whatever the hell she wants. I adore her. Absolutely
You give
adore
her whatever the hell she wants, but you have the ultimate decision.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing. The reason that I do this is because if I say, this is what ultimately is going to happen, that's the last word in it, and I don't even want to have the fucking conversation, we don't. We don't. Now, she may really want to, and I can tell sometimes that she really does, but I don't fucking care because it's my decision ultimately.
So you don't care about how she feels?
I don't know. I didn't say I didn't care how she feels. I just don't care to have her question my authority, autonomy over the marriage. I don't care to have her do
Was
that.
there initial conversation prior to that, or is it just like we're doing this? Don't ask
Depends
me.
on the context.
I would say
Sometimes-
more for like bigger decisions in life, not necessarily like little things. Like I think it's,
Yeah, even larger
think it's very
decisions. If
situational.
ultimately I were to say, let's say I went home and I said, we're moving to Nevada in 3 weeks, get your bags packed, and I'm not going to have I don't want to hear a word about it. You're doing it, and that's the way it's
and you
going.
think that's respectful?
I think that ultimately it's my choice, and not hers.
Okay,
and
but
how
do
she
you think
shows
that's
me
respectful?
respect. Yeah, that's how she shows me respect.
Respect.
That's how the
That's
Bible
respect.
wants it.
What the? Oh boy.
I mean, I don't think
That's what
I don't
men
think we're
want.
going to change each
Yeah.
other's opinions. I think it's fine.
Well,
to
okay, from a
disagree,
biblical worldview, what does submission mean?
but being true and faith.
Nick,
What
you
would
wanna
you
pull
say?
up the umbrella?
That man has the ultimate decision. Yeah.
And
Which
hang on. Does it say that a woman is to adhere to the word of her man like she would unto the Lord?
It does say that.
And does the Lord need to justify fucking anything to you?
He does.
What?
I think the whole Bible's a justification of his moral.
Wait, so if the Lord came down and said, I need you to walk down to Fifth
obviously
Avenue.
not.
Wait,
Obviously
hang on. Why? Then I don't understand. How are you submitting to your husband?
'Cause
like you are unto the Lord, if the Lord doesn't have to justify himself, but your husband does?
Because I have complete and full trust in the Lord, and He's a perfect person.
So aren't you supposed to obey your husband like you're supposed to?
The Bible also
like
says we're
unto
not
the
perfect
Lord?
people.
So you're basically just, your cop-out is, yeah, God wants me to, but I'm not perfect. That's your cop-out?
No, I'm saying my husband isn't perfect.
But what does God instruct you to do with your husband?
What if there was something that...
But what does God instruct you to do with your husband? I'm not going to let you avoid it. What is he instructing you to do?
Be completely submissive.
To be completely submissive.
But what I'm saying is, if you came... I'm assuming you and your wife are both Christian.
Yeah.
What if there was something that was just such, goes completely against the Bible that you wanted to do and she tried to explain to you
Well, then in that case, it would not comport with reason or faith. And so,
That's all I want is reason behind it.
So for instance, well, no, it's not a lack of reason to tell you to do thing. That's not unreasonable. Even not giving you a justification is not unreasonable. What would be unreasonable is if he was like, we're going to go out tonight and we're going to, take a baby and sacrifice it to Satan. That would not comport with the reason and the nature of God. So that's a huge distinction.
But what if she can't say no? If she's supposed to be completely submissive to her
No,
husband?
she can say no if it doesn't comport to the nature and reason of God. Yeah, she can say no.
So
but
what
that
if
ain't
I
going to
said-
be where your
what if
kids
it
go
was
to
a
school, is it? That ain't going to be where your kids go to
What if I said
school.
God's really calling me that they need to go to this Christian school and they need to do this, and my husband said, nope, sending them to public school?
Well, if you think that God married you up to the person who he also told you to submit to, but wants you to question him every chance you get and have him justify his decisions to you, right? And then you go to him and say, God told me X. That's fair. God told me he wants him to go here. What if your husband says, oh, well, God told me you're stupid and wrong, and they're going over here? What would your justification then be from your reasonable brain? What would you say then?
Well, I feel like that's an unreasonable statement.
Oh, I feel like it's unreasonable to go to him and say, God told me X against your will. And he says, that's great.
But there's logic behind that, being like, I want my kids to be raised in a Christian school and this, that, and that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the logic also is the computation of adhering to your husband's word.
But I'm not saying
and
that it's a definite no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I would like
No.
to
What do you mean it's not a
Ultimately,
definite no? It's not your decision. It's his decision.
What I'm saying is I would like to be a part of the conversation and him make the ultimate decision.
And you know what?
That's it.
That would be awesome if he lets you be part of the conversation. What a great and swell guy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't need to if you're submitted to him. That's the point.
Not saying he does.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I would like to. And I think that a man that I would want to marry would keep me a part of that conversation out of kindness and respect.
Right.
That's
So
it.
you would move over to your preference of liberated woman, right?
No.
Okay.
Well, two things, Nick. Pull up the umbrella thing, then I got to move it on. So I guess this is the biblical order of the family: Christ, husband, wife, children. Do you agree? Do you agree with this chart?
This is like what's priority in your life? Or what do you mean?
So my explanation for this would be that Christ and the adherence to Christ's word would be the top in the hierarchy for the
100%.
family unit.
Yes, 100%.
You and I would agree on that.
I would 100% agree on that.
The next would come that the representation of Christ in a marriage is the man who is the head of the marriage.
Oh, so that was like who's in order of like power?
Yeah, so I'm just to explain it though, is that the woman represents the body of the church and the man the head.
100%.
And so the man is representing the head of Christ.
Yeah.
That's his representation role in the marriage, and then the woman is representing the body of Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then the woman's direct responsibility is the children, and the husband's responsibility is flagship decision maker for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then...
No disagreement, no.
So then, put that chart back up. Do you ever need to justify, or does the top of that list, the Christ head, ever need to justify shit to you?
No, because he's perfect.
Okay, it never needs to justify anything to you ever, right?
Christ?
Yeah, the top of that.
Absolutely not, no.
Okay, what comes next?
Husband.
Okay, now explain to me why the husband does have to.
Gracie, why you dissing Riley after 2 years? Bro is innocent. He ain't do nothing. Also, Natalie, do you need some food? Ain't no way this 40-year-old bum with gray hair talking to these girls, Brian, blank, for real? Okay.
Okay.
Wait, Natalie, why do you need to... I don't get that. I don't get my part, but...
Oh, wow, okay.
Hey. I've gotten that joke a lot. Natalie Huck, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
my last name's Hauk,
funny.
but people mispronounce it Hawk.
They
so Huck, too.
They spent their own money on that.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, my friends
Hey,
spent
Riley,
$200.
hey, y'all.
Okay. Cool.
Anyway.
What were we talking about?
Oh, I was just asking on the husband head. Why does he have to justify to you again?
Because I think again, not saying he has to, but I think it would be very respectful and kind.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree. It would be nice of him.
It would be
to do
nice,
that. Yeah.
and I think someone that I would want to marry.
But
I
you're
would
not
love to
advocating
see
that
that.
they need to.
Not necessarily. No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Okay, let's do the dating app reviews. Let's start with, let me read this. Actually, I got to read 2 chats. She already had the chance of submitting to a man. He wanted her to dress modestly and remove provocative photos off her Instagram. She chose to call him insecure instead. Egalitarian bullshit.
I never called him insecure for not wanting to know what I was wearing. I was not girlfriend and boyfriend with him. I would submit to a man if we're girlfriend
Should
and
a guy
boyfriend.
pay on the first date?
Yeah.
So why do you have an expectation that a man fall into his traditional gender roles immediately, first date, but if he's starting to have these expectations of you on your end, you have objections to it?
When you submit to a man, it should be someone that you trust and you know is
So why
faith-based.
should you pay for a girl on a first date if you don't trust her?
Well, that actually avoids his question, though. The question is, if the expectation is that he falls into a traditional gender role,
Yeah.
that's the expectation from your end. Why shouldn't his expectation be immediately on the first date you also do?
Because we have no sense of loyalty to. Oh wait, you're saying like why wouldn't I submit to him initially?
No, if your expectation, I'm not asking for commitment submission.
Yeah.
But if the expectation of gender role is from their perspective Christian like your own, then they would expect that you not dress provocatively, et cetera, right?
So after talking to a guy for like a week, I'm just supposed to delete every single thing.
Only if your expectation is that he falls into a traditional gender role.
So you're saying that a traditional gender role for women would be that they don't have these things posted, or that's what I'm kind of confused.
I mean, probably not, but even if we were to grant that they did, just the dressing provocatively and this kind of thing, if they said, okay, well, my preference is for you not to do that even on the first date, if your expectation is that they pay, that seems fair. That seems like the expectation of gender role is, at that point, complete, right?
that he expects me to dress more modestly.
Sure. If your expectation is that he fucking pays for everything.
I'm not saying he pays for everything.
Well,
but
what do you pay for on a date?
I wouldn't be offended if he asked to split or anything. I mean, okay.
Oh man, you just went real modern. You just went real modern suddenly.
Okay, no. Here's the thing. I wouldn't be like, if he was like having trouble with money or whatever it is, like maybe let's not go out. Maybe let's go somewhere else. Like I'm open to things, but I just don't see how that correlates to, like,
because of the expectation of the gender role.
I would like to hear.
Oh, I probably wouldn't be able to explain it better than he did. I mean, it's just like, if you're expecting him to pay on the first day and do all the things that a man is supposed to do, he's supposed to just automatically just do it. Why can't you just automatically do what you're supposed to do as a woman? Is what he's saying.
So you're saying as a woman, I'm supposed to dress more automatically,
like if he expects you to
dress more modestly.
Wouldn't
That's what I'm kind of
be an automatic submission because in the idea of marriage, because marriage is a sacrament. It's not just a. From the Christian worldview, it's
100%.
sacramental.
Yes.
So no, you're not going to do a sacramental marriage with a guy in the first date.
Mm-hmm.
But if the expectation is that you follow a more traditional female gender role, then shouldn't you be, I don't know, a bit more meek, let him not only lead on the date, but kind of, in this way also not dress as provocatively. Like those would be all the kind of typical traditional
That's what
gender.
I'm kind of confused. On the date, I wasn't dressed provocatively, and I wasn't actively posting on stuff.
But I mean, that's your view. If his determination, in his mind, if he deems it to be provocative.
But on the,
do you think your bikini photos are provocative?
I wasn't posting that.
No, just answer that question, though. You probably don't think they're provocative, right?
Not really, no.
Right, so your sense of I know you posted those after your date, but your own sense of what is provocative and what is not provocative does not compute with what he finds right. Sure. So he would probably say that is provocative to post bikini thirst trap photos.
I mean, that's fair, and he's looking for different things than I was, and that's why I didn't.
Right, but if you're going to be submissive, your idea of what is provocative or not provocative is irrelevant.
I agree, but I will only be submissive when I'm in a committed relationship with someone. And
right,
I wasn't
but
with
here's
him.
a question. Let's say you are in a committed relationship, and the man says, I find these photos to be provocative. And you just in your head, you're like, no way, that's not provocative. I 100% disagree. I don't view it as provocative at all.
Yeah.
Will you be submissive to him even though you disagree with his assessment of the provocativeness?
I think at a point where I'm in a committed relationship like that probably won't be when I'm this age and like all that stuff. So I don't think I would be posting that in the first place.
You didn't answer the question, so let's try again. So you have photos posted to your Instagram.
You said take them down?
You don't think they're provocative. He does.
If it's something that really upsets him, I would take them down.
No, it doesn't even upset him that much. He just doesn't want you to have them up.
Sure, if he's uncomfortable with it, I would take it down.
Would you fight him on it because you have a difference of view when it comes to
if it's something, if I really respect him and want to be submissive to this guy and I really trust him, I think that he's a faith-based man of God, then if he said that he's uncomfortable with it or whatever, I would take it down.
Okay.
Did you want me to have a different answer?
No.
If it's a-
I'm still confused though about like you had objections to him having these comments. I mean, you kind of already just went over it, but you'd want a guy to pay for the first date, do all these things, et cetera, et cetera. You expect that immediately, but you took issue with him kind of trying to put in a boundary there when it came to your
But it
dress.
wasn't, I think where we're having like differing here is that it wasn't said in a like, this is something that makes me uncomfortable or whatever. Like it was more of a like,
Okay.
basically you're a slut.
Fair enough.
That was, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a conversation. It was just, you're a slut. Okay, then why are you on a date with me?
I would like to note, though, before Brian moves it on, just this one last thing.
Yeah.
When we're talking about submission from a religious Christian sense, would you agree with me that the reason that this is in place specifically is so that if decisions are made that you don't like, even with or without, your consent, essentially, that the purpose of this is to say it doesn't matter because ultimately you're putting your trust.
Ulysses the Pagan donated $200. Blondie, just admit that you're a closet feminist and Brainham was him saying bullshit.
I am not a feminist.
Thank you, Pagan.
Let that be
Appreciate it.
known.
Go ahead, Andy.
I was just saying that the purpose of this, for why it's blind submission in a way to your husband,
Yeah.
that specifically it's so that when these big decisions do come up, that you may fight him tooth and nail on because you can be such an influence on his decision making. That the reason that you really shouldn't question the decision making much is because it actually hampers his ability to lead properly.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I was talking about this with literally my parents the other day. My mom would have said that
But
they're
that's
both two butting heads and that didn't work that way.
But if you agree,
That's why I would say if it's
but
ultimately
hang on,
a
but if you
decision.
agree with that,
Yeah.
then even by the standard of how you view reason, it does actually comport with reason for him to make decisions and not discuss them with you.
Sure,
Right.
I've never looked at it that way, but yeah.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, really quick, we have some supers to read, but first, Nick, could you pull up, actually, just go to Twitch. Guys, twitch.tv/whatever, drops a follow and a Prime sub if you have one, twitch.tv/whatever.
By the way, it looks like the Crucible rated us.
Oh, in the YouTube chat?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. I don't know if that was Rachel or somebody else. But...
Yeah, that was Rachel.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate it. Good to see you guys in the chat, Crucible crew. Guys, twitch.tv/whatever if you can get that pulled up. Guys, if you're watching on Twitch, drop us a follow. If you're watching on YouTube, drop us a follow. Open up another tab. Also, drop us a Prime sub if you have one. Drop us a Prime sub if you have one. It's been an hour since we last had one. I think it's bugged. Help.
Help.
Yeah. And then, cool. And then I need to, no, hold on. I no time. Okay. Maddie, can you read these?
Sure. Thank you, Andrew, for fighting against their brainwashing. These women don't even realize the extent of it, starting from Sesame Street on humans making babies are bad, humans that don't are smart.
Actually, Lowell Paladin, he makes a good point against the kind of anti-natalist mindset which has gripped society. Lowell Paladin, you're a really good contributor to the show, too. I appreciate that, man. It's very kind of you.
Yeah, thank you, man. And then he has another one.
Question for Brian. How many male comments does she get on her Instagram versus how many women comment on her sexy photos? Who is really validating her?
Can I answer this?
Yeah.
0 men actually comment on that. If you want to go look at the posts, it's usually just all my girlfriends. So, yeah, there's usually no male comments, but you can check it if you want.
Okay. All right. We have Lowell Paladins again. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
She already had a chance of submitting to a man. He wanted her to dress modestly and remove provocative photos off her Instagram. She chose to call him insecure instead. Egalitarian bull. We already read that.
The insecure.
We read that one.
Yeah.
And also,
my
the
bad, my
insecure
bad.
was separate from the dressing modestly.
You already explained
Yeah.
it. I don't even know what
Okay.
Let me get into more of the notes here. Or we had the dating apps, but one was from Yellow.
And
Or who were the dating apps from? Okay, just pull them up. We'll do those quick.
Yeah.
Huh?
The ballot video?
We could do the bow, but let's do the dating app first.
Okay. All right.
All right, you check these, right? They're fine. Okay, best travel story, dance off with a crackhead at the Pirate Bar in Tampa. Okay, next.
Oh.
26, micro celebrity. You're a micro celebrity.
Yeah, known by many, but not by most.
Okay, cool. Next. Jack off, all trades.
Jack off?
It's a joke, yeah.
Green flags I look for. Okay. My simple pleasure, having a full pack of dude wipes. Okay, nice. Next. Or is that it?
What the
That's
fuck
it,
is
yeah.
a dude wipe?
It's like a wet wipe, but for
that's
dudes.
whatever. I don't know. Oh wait, say pencil, but replace the "so" with "is." Relax, liberals. It's hard.
Dark humor.
Okay. All right.
Wait, liberal. Are you voting Trump?
No, I'm not.
Man, I thought there was hope.
Thank you, Ollie.
All the people that asked
Appreciate
this
it.
table
Thank you,
asked her that.
Was there a question?
Ollie. Okay. What was the next?
Asked this
Thank you,
table
Ollie.
asked her that.
Was there a question?
Okay. What was the next dating app? Next dating app?
I'm not even registered to vote yet. So.
Okay, it wasn't. Okay.
I need to.
Let's have you read the prompts.
Okay. So there's a picture of me, then it says, a life goal of mine, travel to all the national parks in a camper van and write my novels whilst doing so. Little smiley face.
Okay.
27,
all
woman.
That, not political. Figuring out my dating goals, monogamy. Bye. Okay.
Voting Trump.
I don't know who I'm voting for. Probably not Trump. I don't know. I don't
Okay,
really
so
know a lot about
all right,
politics.
next.
Pictures of me. I'll pick the
Spirituality,
topic you
next.
started. Yeah.
Is that it? You can read these.
Okay. It goes on the next picture. It has the full thing.
Yeah.
The hallmark of a good relationship is growth mindset, being aware of ego, know how to apologize and take accountability, humor, laughter, gratitude, spontaneity, some similar hobbies, some different hobbies. Don't try to change the other person.
I don't know, man. That sounds like a lot of work.
Damn. Okay. Cool.
You really think you shouldn't try to change another person?
Change in terms of growth. Sure, you guys are going to impact each other and you're going to grow being together. That's what's going to happen. But like not change. What I mean by that is like if I have been with someone and then my mental health and my personhood is actually getting worse because that's not the right relationship with me. Like, so instead of trying to like change someone to be different than who they are, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but I think the idea of self and who you are, you probably agree with this, is pretty wide, right?
Right.
There's a lot of variables that make you you. So I would say like a person who has no ambition, who wakes up with ambition, is a different person.
right?
Wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that would be positive change in a relationship.
Yeah, but it's change.
Yeah.
But couldn't you run into this problem when you say positive change, right? Of trying to give them positive change when it's not actually positive.
Oh, that can definitely happen.
Yeah, so when you say don't try to change each other, you don't really mean don't try to change each other.
Yeah, you're right. I should change that because that's not what I mean.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's a good point.
Okay. Let's see. Going back to some of the notes here. Actually, no. Why don't we do the bow video really quick? Was that it for the dating app stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Go ahead. I think this is a good example. Hold on. Stop. Start from the beginning. They weren't paying attention. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Boom.
Boom. Huge bow. I think this would be like pretty submissive, I think. Like pretty submissive, you know? All right. You know, just dinner's ready. Come home from a long day at the podcast. Opening the beer for me. Stirring the noodles. It's like, great. Boom. Good technique. Okay, boom. And then one more time. Let's see the bow one more time. Boom. Huge bow. So, just curious for you, I guess.
Megan.
Anybody else here think like they would be submissive? They want to be submissive to boyfriend?
Am I supposed to raise my hand?
Yeah. Would you, if your husband wanted you to bow, would you do it?
I mean, if that's really what he likes, sure, yeah. I don't really see the point in the bowing, but
He just was like, he saw that video from my podcast. He's like, oh, that'd be cool if like my girlfriend or wife did that. Would you do it?
I would laugh and do it, but yeah.
You'd laugh and do it?
Because I think it's kind of funny, yeah.
Oh, okay. But you'd do it.
I mean, sure.
So going around the
I see
table,
no harm in
would
it,
you do
so
it?
yeah.
Yeah, they were gonna karate fight.
Yeah,
after.
exactly.
Gracie?
I don't think I would. Maybe laugh about it. I would want to
Okay.
understand why he would want to be bowed to first.
He just wants it. He wants to
Wouldn't
bow.
have to explain.
I mean, I don't
He
think there's
doesn't have
harm
to
in it.
explain.
I would laugh.
Just do it.
I agree. I'd laugh
and do
at
it.
it.
It's
Yeah.
like namaste, you know.
But you wouldn't do it.
I would laugh and do it after.
Okay. But what if he was like, I want you to do this every time, if you're just at home, like, and he comes home from work, every time he comes home from work.
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that?
No, I wouldn't.
But you want to get married, right?
Yes.
Here, before I get into that, I'll have everybody answer. Would you do that? Would you hit the bow?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
Based Austrian.
It'd have to be the right person, otherwise no.
Okay. Would you do it?
No.
Okay. All right.
She would ask him to bow.
All right. Wait. So going back to you, Gracie, you want to get married?
Yes, I do.
Would you want a man to get down on one knee to do it, to propose? How much would you want him to spend on the ring?
I don't really care about
You'd
that.
be fine with like a cubic zirconia, like a $20.
Yeah, I honestly think that some
You'd be
like
fine
crystals
with
are
a CZ?
kind of really cute.
Wait, would you be fine with a CZ?
Yeah,
So
genuinely.
your whole
I
friend
wouldn't
group,
really
all
care.
their husbands spent thousands of dollars on a ring, and you get a $20 CZ.
Well, honestly, I would probably be marrying somebody who is hardworking enough to be able to afford a nicer ring.
Sure, he could afford. Well, okay, for example, I could afford a $7,000 steak. I'm not spending $7,000 on a steak.
I couldn't afford a $7,000.
Yeah, you can, Andrew. You're doing that. Okay, so
Not that good.
Yeah, but my
Not
husband would
$7,000
want to
steak
spend something on me, I'd assume.
right, but so you would be dissatisfied if he did not spend a sufficient amount of money on the ring, correct?
Maybe I would be.
So you would?
Yeah, I would be.
So then, wait, to be clear, you want a man to get down, looking up at you, get down on one knee, kneel in front of you, which I think is far more submissive than you're still standing, you just hit a bow.
Well, yeah, it's traditional
Why-
to get down on one knee.
Yeah,
It's not traditional to bow. In how I was raised, it's not traditional to bow to a man that walks into a room.
Okay, so tradition aside, what's the matter?
What do you mean?
Well, you can desire things that are not. I mean, if we really can go into tradition, like, is the woman a virgin on her wedding night? Is the husband a virgin on his wedding night? I mean, we can have a conversation about what's traditional, what's not traditional. In any case, when a lot of women's expectations when it comes to the proposal is that he get down on one knee with a ring of a certain expense. Look, oh, will you marry me? So you're okay with the guy
I think
doing
it's cute.
that?
I like
Is that
it.
how it goes? Is that how
I
you
don't
did
think it's
it?
wrong to like that.
Will you marry me?
Andrew probably stood there, threw the ring at her. You're my
Said,
wife
"Take it."
now, Rachel. We're married. Threw it, right?
Yep.
No, I didn't do that. But
Yeah, I like it.
I
think
really
it's
wanted to
cute.
lean into it. You know, it's really funny, though, bringing up my wife, because she's watched that clip now, I don't know, like a dozen times.
Yeah.
And she says that Brian's way off base, that's not submission. That's just basic, she calls it basic bitch shit. She says, who gives a shit if this is her words, I'm just paraphrasing her, right? Who cares if this stupid broad bows and cooks his noodles? That's basic. That's basic. Wait until he makes a decision that she doesn't like. Then we'll see if that chick is submissive or not. I think that's a really valid point, because it's like,
valid.
what she's saying there is, you're not really asking for shit. You're not asking for
It's
nothing.
easy.
You're just like, oh,
It's
okay,
easy.
with my cup of noodles, give me a bow. Who get in the comparison to the expectation on the other side? I think you better bow. I mean, honestly, I think you better bow. And I think that's what she's getting at with that. That's all.
That's a really good point,
It
actually.
is a good
It's
point.
like asking for a bow that takes like no effort. You burn like a quarter of a calorie doing it, probably less. It'll please your husband or boyfriend or whatever if he wants it, I guess. I don't really see what the issue is there. I don't see any issue.
Yeah, it seems
I don't
pretty
see the
basic.
harm in it. It's just like, okay,
It
like,
seems
you want me
pretty
to bow?
basic, yeah.
Sure. I agree. I like what your wife said.
But
There's
yeah,
bigger
it's some
issues.
basic shit.
Yeah.
But you want a guy to get down on one knee?
Well, and that's what she's saying. She's like, and if they won't do that basic shit, that chick ain't gonna do nothing. She ain't gonna do nothing.
If a girl won't bow for you, she won't do any. What's crazy? Wait, actually, what's crazy?
Remember that trad calf girl? She went home and she was like, okay, I'm gonna do it just to do it.
Yes.
And she made his meal and she put it down and she bowed.
And he loved
And he
that
was
shit.
like, what the fuck was that? And she told him and he was like, well, do that more. That's awesome.
Okay, I'll tell you this. We've shown this video for 50 episodes now at this point. The amount of women who have DM'd me and said, I tried that with my boyfriend, tried that with my husband. 99% of them
We're
say
really happy
the
about it.
husband, the boyfriend loved that shit. A couple of them will be like, oh, he thought it was kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you okay? But then, like, they still liked it anyways. So, but here's the crazy thing, Andrew. The same women who will say, I wouldn't bow for a man. We'll let a guy jizz on your face the first time meeting. Just saying. It's true, bro. The same girl who's like, I wouldn't bow for a guy.
What are you raising your eyes for? You make men punch themselves in the balls for you.
I mean, I wouldn't let a man jizz on my face the first time I met him. That's just.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly like.
You got to punch him in the nuts a few
Don't
times
touch-
first.
You don't think
touch the
you don't
face.
think there's women out there that
I mean, I'm sure there
have
are.
one-night
Yeah.
stands and get blasted?
I'm sure there are, but I'm not one of them. You know.
But she can punch them in the nuts. Sorry.
Bro, I'm telling you, dude.
I haven't
They
punched
won't
them. I
bow.
only kick
They
them.
won't bow for you, but they will literally let you inside of them on the first date, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy. I gotta get up for a bit. Can you? Oh, actually, before I get up. Going to Keshwan.
Keshwan, yeah.
Keshwan. her notes. You're going to like this one, Andrew. I know you can't stay for too long, but you'll have enough time to get into her with this. She says, men 30 plus dating 18-year-olds. I don't agree to that. Going around the table, what are your thoughts on age gaps?
I can't wait to hear it.
So your position really quick. We'll get the rest of the panels.
Oh, you want me to do it quick?
Well, I guess we're going to get everybody's input on this, but you can start since it was your point.
Okay, so the reason why I said that was because I would say that a girl, because she's still a teenager, just fresh out of high school, I don't think that an 18-year-old that is fresh out of high school is going to say, I'm ready to go get married and settle down. That's just not where she's at mentally.
Okay, so, what if she's 19?
21 is the young side. 2021.
Sure. Well, before we get into it, we'll let everybody share their opinions. Go ahead.
Okay. I think it depends on where both people are at in life and if it coincides with where each other are at.
Here, maybe I can just throw out a number. 25-year-old or 35-year-old, should I do, we'll just say 19-year-old.
I don't like that.
Don't like it?
No.
Okay. Why?
Give you the ick.
Look in the camera.
Just not something I would personally do or
You wouldn't date,
encourage my friends to do.
What about Ryan Reynolds? Would you date Ryan Reynolds?
Oh.
He's 47 or something.
I wouldn't
right?
date Ryan Reynolds, no.
You would smash Ryan Reynolds?
He's married.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
A lot of issues to bring up here.
If he was single. Or what about who's the guy who plays Thor? What about the guy who plays Thor?
Oh, he's sexy.
Chris Hemsworth. What about
I think the oldest I would go is
Kelly Oubre.
who the fuck is
Kelly Oubre, Justin Jefferson, they're mid-20s though. Mid-20s is
He's
the oldest.
25, 28, right?
Justin Jefferson's 25,
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
All right, well that's fine. Okay, so it's icky. Not cool with 35, 19. Okay, what about you?
I think it depends where you are in life, but as a blanket statement, probably not.
Probably not?
Yeah,
okay, probably not cool with it. Okay, what about you?
19 and 35 or 19 and 35, you say?
Yeah.
No.
No? What about you?
Yeah, I say no. It's too big of an age gap.
No.
Interesting. Okay. And then really quick, just going back around the table, what's the oldest that you would date? So just say your age again, and then say the oldest that you would date. Kay, starting with you.
I'm 30. The oldest I would date is probably 45.
Okay.
I'm 18, probably 20, 21.
I'm 18, I would say 21, 22.
I'm 18 and 20.
I'm 27, and I'd probably date up to 35.
I'm 26. I'd probably go up to maybe 36, 37.
Okay, so I'm 35, right? So you would all object to me dating a 19-year-old?
Yes.
Why?
I mean,
why would you
19,
want to?
yes, legally an adult.
Why would I want to?
Because I would.
Wait, no, you said that.
Oh, go ahead.
I feel like your lifestyles would be so different.
How would it be different?
A 19-year-old, I'm thinking of my life right now, going into college. I would not, first of all, want to be dating anybody, but second of all, be in the position to be in a relationship with somebody who is already secure in their lifestyle, knows what they want, is working on their career, that type of thing. I would need time and space for myself to do that.
I mean, when I brought up some of those men who are really attractive, high status, even though they're far older than I am, you seem to consider it. I was curious.
The only person I said I would